I'm just saying.
The camera adds £10.
Exactly. Which makes me look
There's about 4
extraordinary.
cameras on you at the moment.
I do have to lose some weight. Well, as you might have realised, we are back. It's after tea. And is there back to Premier League football this weekend, thankfully?
It's back. International
Thank
break
God
has
for that.
buggered off.
Do I hate international breaks or what?
I know very few football fans who really like international break. Yeah, you get some momentum up in your football. And
all your best players get injured.
Well, this is it. And what I used to do all the time was at the end of the week go, oh, fuck that player's shit, and I'll get him out of my fantasy team and put that dude in, and then they go on an international break for 2 weeks and get injured. And you think, bugger, I just used up all my transfers.
Well, anyway, that's what's most important.
Absolutely. That and Liverpool winning, obviously. They're coming back after tea. And who's that? Is that Davey Warner?
Davey Warner leading them out.
Indeed. He's had a pretty shit season, hasn't he? I mean, as it were, all ashes, I should say. He didn't do too bad.
He seems to get happier and happier the worse he plays.
Well, yeah. Right, 169 for 3, England. Bairstow's 22 not out, and Roots 57 not out. Can he get a ton today? I bloody hope so. I'd like to see him get a ton. I don't think he's battered bad this Ashes, to be honest. He's had a couple of absolute beauties when he's first come into the crease. I don't think, when you haven't faced a ball. He's had 2 golden ducks, which I don't think he'd had before this Ashes series ever. But he's had 2 in this series, and they were bloody good balls.
Yeah, they weren't what you want to face first up.
No. Not some long half volley outside off stump.
Andy, were you having a long chat about Slayer before?
Before the break, yes. I wouldn't say long, but has that piqued the interest of Twitter?
There's some Slayer-related content.
Oh, let's have a listen to Slayer.
But there's no audio.
No, I don't know. I was never a big fan of Slayer. I mean, I like my metal, but thrash metal never really did it for me, I have to say.
You like your old metal, do you?
Yeah, I didn't mind Poodle Rock. Some Poodle Rock, anyway.
Yeah.
Bit of Sabbath, bit of Motorhead, that sort of stuff.
No, never a big Motorhead fan. Never a massive Sabbath fan. Big Zepp fan.
Are they metal?
Well, yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. I know a lot of people make a case of them being a blues band, but it's all labels.
Well, a lot of rock came out of the blues, let's be honest. Well, straight after tea, we'll have a jingle for him. He's going to start. He's the #1 test bowler in the world. And it's this man.
Paceman Pat, and his baggy green cap. Early in the morning, just before the warm-up, he has to pull out with a dodgy back.
Rick Carmen!
Don Colvin is asking about sea shanty death metal.
Sea shanty death metal.
I don't know. Listening to a bit of electro swing lately. That's kind of fun.
Electro swing.
What the hell
was
that?
Electro swing? Musical genres these days. Cummins in again, and Bairstow gets on the back foot and just plays it out to cover. There ain't no run.
Well, like a lot of music nowadays, they've run out of ideas, so they have to just kind of mash together 2 things, like as Nestle just said, sea shanty metal, which I hadn't heard, but I can imagine.
You can imagine. Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum, all to it's Napalm Death. I remember there was a documentary about Napalm Death once.
It's probably quite interesting.
Well, no, the shortest song was like 15 seconds long.
No. This is 1 second.
The song was 2 seconds long.
Yeah.
Suffer. Suffer.
Just that's all they said. Suffer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they virtually are Spinal Tap in the reel, aren't they? That's outside off stump, left alone by.
I had a great story the other day. Oasis went to see Spinal Tap play a live gig, and it suddenly became apparent that Liam Gallagher thought they were a real band.
Okay.
They were doing the sort of
the Druid thing.
No, they did the sort of first set as the Mighty Wind, because it's the same people with as a folk spoof.
Okay.
That actually came out after Spinal Tap, but it's the same people spoof, and that's quite a funny film as well.
As Cummins is up to the crease, full driven by Bairstow, but only as far as mid-off, and there ain't no run.
So this is going on, and Liam Gallagher's going, what's this? This is shit. And the other guys are laughing at the jokes, and they explain to him, no, it's the same people, it's a joke. And he goes, oh, well, fuck this then, and sort of leaves.
Well, Liam, I'm sorry to say, but Liam is
maybe not the sharpest.
It's just pig shit. Yeah.
I went to see Napalm Death, and one show, the drummer jumped out from his drum kit and dived into the crowd and had a fight with one of the audience members.
Nice.
Someone had thrown a bottle at him.
Well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Pat Cummins in, sits short. So it's wide outside the off stump, and Burstow just sways back and watches it through the pane. And there's no run. 87.4 miles an hour. That's not too bad.
I once went to a gig. It was Napalm Death, Extreme Noise Terror, and Carcass and Bolt Thrower.
Oh, a friend of mine used to roadie for Bolt Thrower.
Really?
Yes.
It was fucking intense, I tell you.
What were Bolt Thrower?
Oh, just as you can imagine by the name, really. It's just, yeah. It was a whole night of just fucking mayhem. In the Clarendon Ballroom in Hammersmith.
You might remember Extreme Noise Terror playing the Brit Awards with the KLF one year.
Oh, yeah, with the machine. Yeah. Bill.
Again, that's a
Drummond.
length ball outside off stump. Burstow has no need to play it if it's too wide. He does not. He lets it through to keeper and there's no run.
Need more Bill Drummond. Unfortunately, he's sort of retired from the music business.
Well, that was the KLF's exit at
Yeah.
the time. It was their exit gig.
For heavy, try Ty Siegel. I know Ty Siegel, Maverick Land. Yeah, he's good.
I don't like
Not
heavy.
always
I
heavy.
don't like heavy for the sake of heavy, which a lot. That's why I didn't
He's not.
really like thrash metal, to be honest. I always thought it was just heavy for the sake of it.
They probably have their reasons for doing it.
Well, they just like thrashing a guitar. I mean, I
to
can
make a lot of
understand
noise,
that.
yeah.
I mean, I played electric guitar, and I'm like, nothing better than making a bit of noise with it. But
A right old racket.
yeah, exactly. I need repairing. Actually, it's stuck in the other room. In fact, when I cleared out my loft and moved a whole load of stuff here, I got my electric guitar out.
Right,
And
well, speaking of electric guitar,
Okay.
Mitchell.
And he's up to the crease, and he's still getting a little bit of swing. That one is gentle away swing, starts on about middle stump. A little bit short of a length, and Root just defends it back past the boulder to mid on. There ain't no run.
That jingle is based on my favourite song of all time,
Which is?
Jumping Jack Flash.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is Jumping Jack Flash, isn't it?
Yeah,
With just
well,
lyrics
it's based
over
on.
the top,
Yeah. But that is my favourite. That is my number one song.
I don't know.
Yeah, love it.
I don't really go for. I think it'll change every couple of months anyway for me.
Well, this is true.
Oh.
That swing starts out wide, goes wider. Payne diving to his left, bobbles it out to second slip. With a juggle, and there's no run.
Alice Clark, Herr Kommissar, yes, I am Sancho, says folk metal. You've not lived until witnessing stage diving during a violin solo. the band in question was Korpliklani. Yes, a bunch of Finns singing about drinking. That sounds brilliant.
Jesus, that sounds awful. Jethro Tull were a bit folk rock, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, folk rock was a big thing, I suppose. That's a better line by Marsh, but it's only 81 miles an hour, and Root just defends it from the crease back past the bowler to mid-off this time, no run.
Okay, so if Mitchell Marsh is getting some swing at 81 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and the guy's bowling 88 to 90, not so much. It could be any merit in them just dropping down to 85, 86, and they're seeing if they can get a bit of movement.
Well, yeah, but they're not. I mean, maybe they could if they also pitched it up fuller too, maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, he is bowling a fuller length, and that's short and shit and down
Yeah.
the leg side, and no need to play at that. Root doesn't, and lets it through the Payne, no run.
But it's not that it's particularly threatening swing from Mitchell Marsh. It's early swing, and the batsmen are lining it up pretty
yeah, and
easily.
it's from the arm as well, isn't it?
Actually, he did get a wicket. It must have been one of those pull shots. Stokes,
It was, wasn't it? It was Stokes trying
Yeah.
to pull it, leading edge out to
Maverick
point.
Land is sorry. Best song of all time, The Queen is Dead by the Smiths.
I was never a massive Smiths fan. He's a miserable bastard. That's played off the bat for out to backward point, and there is no run.
Heaven knows I'm miserable.
And now he's turned into a fucking racist Nazi.
I don't think there was any turning. I think it was always there.
You think? Oh, yeah.
He used to say you had to be black to get on top of the pops and things like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I never really followed him. I always thought he was a miserable bastard when he was in the Smiths.
I love the first album,
I was never a Smiths fan.
and Hatful of Hollow, the collection that came out afterwards. But after that, I've got a bit bored with them.
He's not a bad songwriter, I'll give him that. That's full again, and a little bit of swing, but too full. Nearly a half volley that Root just defends out to cover, and there's no run, and that ends it over. England are runless. There's one ball left after tea.
No,
Talking of rock.
Yeah, there you
it's
go.
Roy Wood out of Wizard.
Yeah.
Is that?
No,
No.
it looks a bit like him.
Looks
though.
a bit like him. He looks a bit young for Roy Wood.
Now,
doesn't
that guy has got some Jethro Tull in his collection at home.
he? Yeah, probably.
I'd imagine. Minstrel in the Gallery or something. Songs from the Wood. I always like to see a sort of an oldish rocker though, who hasn't given up.
Yeah,
You
still
know,
got the long hair. even though it's really lank.
Still wearing the clothes. I like that.
Well, indeed. Someone's waving at Cummins. Bairstow wants him to sit down.
He's getting pissed off.
Now, when is Johnny Bairstow not?
Yeah.
Even when he scores 100, he sort of celebrates angrily.
Angrily, yeah. He's an angry redhead. Cummins is in now. Bowls full and defended by Bairstow. Decent timing, but mid-on is pretty straight, which is Hazelwood. He'll field it and there's no run.
There's a guy in Epping who I've seen for 20, 30 years maybe, since I was younger, and he's always had the Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood look, and he must be now in his mid to late 60s, and he's still got it. He's still walking around Epping with leather trousers, boots, the hair dyed black, and he's got the shirt, with the chains. It's just great. It's just great. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
You don't obviously give a shit.
Absolutely, and rightly so. Played out of the offside, and Bairstow's gone for the single, and he's been turned back by Roots. He gets back easily in the end. I thought he might be a little bit short. The throw was pretty poor, and nothing to write home about.
There's a band called Gwaja that writes songs primarily about whales, says Short Third Man.
The Welsh Nationalist band.
The country or the fish?
The animal.
Oh, right.
The mammal,
Well,
I should
the mammal,
say.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it Gwaja? Gojira.
Oh, it's Gojira. That's a
Gojira.
Japanese thing, isn't it?
Yeah. They like their whales, don't they?
But I like killing them.
Yeah.
Cummins is in short, and Bairstow ducked underneath that. Too short, in easy enough to get out of the way, and so he does. So to keep no run. My phone was just making noises. I don't know that.
Sorry?
Nothing.
Okay. Maverick Man, Morrissey is a wanker, but hey, lyrics like "When you're tied to your mother's apron, no one talks about frustration." Yeah, lyrically, he's
quite good. He's just a miserable bastard.
Every day is like Sunday.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Every day is silent and grey.
Walking over wet sand.
And Southend Beach on the video.
Yeah.
Here comes Cummins, bowls on the back foot. There's Bairstow, punches it up to mid-off. Still no run after tea.
It was the coastal town that they forgot to close down.
Which is very true of Southend if you've ever been there.
There's a lot of coastal towns that have been forgotten to be closed down.
Well, I quite like a shabby English coastal town.
They're great in summer, they're shit in winter.
I like them in the winter as well.
There's
a grimness about them that I like.
Oh, it
they're
went to
depressing.
Blackpool in November one
Ooh.
year. That was miserable.
I like the bleakness of
Heaven
it.
knows it's miserable now.
Yeah, exactly.
Cummins in and defended by Bairstow up to mid-on. There's no run.
The Suffolk coast in the winter in a driving rainstorm is fantastic.
Take the word for that one.
Yes. Honestly.
Well, I've got property down in Broadstairs, and that whole Margate, Ramsgate area in winter is fucking miserable.
Jeff Perkins says Gojira is what we call Godzilla.
Godzilla, that's right.
Yeah. I didn't like the latest film, I must admit. It was a bit boring.
Well, it's just him running around, isn't it, fighting big monsters.
Yeah.
Cummins in, which is pretty much what he does in the originals, actually. It's played up to mid-on, there's no run, but
It's
they were
his
highly entertaining because they were men in big suits.
Yeah, they were funny.
Exactly. On small sets.
Yeah, it's his raison d'etre, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
Big monster running around. I didn't mind the 1997 one with
Matthew
Broderick.
Broderick. Yeah,
yeah.
I've
That was
heard
alright.
some podcasts really rip that to shreds. I found it mildly entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's
Film critics always rip shit apart.
Well, no,
that you
these are
find.
the kind of, I do enjoy listening to this kind of podcast. It's like a bad movie podcast. They'll take a movie and they'll just kind of rip on it for an hour and a half.
Longer than the movie. That sounds like a terrible podcast.
No, some of them are very good. Did a We Hate Movies. I like that one.
That's Root as Marsh starts his ninth over. He goes back in the crease, defends out into the cover region, where there's a fielder and there's no run.
Dave Wood, thank you. Watching you guys and talking of Morrissey, I'm drawn to You're the One for Me, Fatty, which also obviously doesn't include Andy there. Leia says, if you're looking for some really good folk-influenced music with really good lyrics, check out Skyclad, and she sent a link on YouTube.
They're like Clanad.
So you can check that out. Skyclad?
Yeah.
I don't know, are they?
Don't know. I was just thinking of Clanad.
Ooh.
Add in. That's defended by Root. Inside half of the bat onto his pad. Just drops down the offside. Beckons Bairstow for a run. Bairstow's not interested. Doesn't move. No run.
Leia says, there's only one monster in the original Godzilla. It's also classic for a reason. And Ravi Nair is back with us. He says, there's a coastal town with no redeeming features, at least when I visited. It's rightly called Grimsby.
Yeah.
Well, it's good fish and chips, though.
Fresh fish up there, man.
Yeah.
They still bring them in. But will they after Brexit? Who knows?
Oh, bit of politics there.
Bit of politics.
They won't for long. Brexit or not, seas will be fished out.
You know what a fishing community really pisses me off about?
Oh.
Now, I don't know if he got any bat on that, but it was really poorly handled by Payne. I don't think so either. It did, for once, Mitch Marsh... No, it was a bye. So Mitch Marsh didn't get it to do anything, and it carried on down the line, down the leg side. And Payne saying it did something. I don't think it did a lot, really. I think it just carried on with the line, didn't it? Didn't even flick the pad, clearly, and he just palmed it.
The way he's gone for that, he's stuck out one hand. His other hand is kind of clutched towards himself like a claw. It's not a good look. He went for that catch with one hand, but I'm not sure it was necessary.
Yeah. So I'm going to get back onto fishing communities. And how
fishing communities.
Right,
you haven't
and how
escaped.
they all ramble on. And how they all want
Fish.
Brexit. They want fish, I suppose. It's left alone outside the off stump by Bairstow. When Maggie came in and decided that she was going to fucking privatise everything, the fishing fleets were one of the people who sold their fucking licences. And they sold all their licences for big money to fucking foreign operators, who then took their licences and their what do you call them? What they're allowed to catch? Quotas. And used them. And now they're all fucking bitching about it. As far as I'm concerned, fuck off. Left alone outside the off stump, there's no one. I have no sympathy for you whatsoever.
Well, it's going to, like I say, it's going to be a moot point in 30 years or so, because the seas will practically be fished out.
It's true. It'll be like Judge Dredd. They'll all be polluted.
Just all be algae.
Yeah, and if you dive into it, you'll die of immediate poisoning in about 2 minutes.
Adelaide Barmy
You might want to by that point.
have sent a tweet in, and I think he meant to attach a picture, which he hasn't. But I may be wrong, but it looks like it. And Maverickland has sent us a tweet of a guy doing wheelies on a motorbike, which is rather entertaining.
Defended by Bairstow. And so foolish delivery once more. 83.9 miles an hour. We scored 3 runs. 1 run since I can't remember what.
Well, I think Mitch Marsh has done his job really. He's bowled 9 overs for 17. He's picked up a bonus wicket.
He's just bowling straight with a little bit of our way swing, isn't it?
I mean, the ball is swinging onto the bat, but he's bowling a decent enough length so that he's not giving them a lot to score off.
No,
so
unless you want to take a chance.
A little bit in the way Shane Watson used to bowl.
Yeah, dibbly dobblers basically.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm just watching this film of this guy doing wheelies on this motorbike. And obviously, it's, I think, America. What a nut.
Yeah, they're all nuts.
Look at what this idiot did in America.
I've got the picture from Adelaide Barmy, and it's his seaside town.
Easy. Oh, yeah. It's kind of English, really, doesn't it?
It looks like Blackpool, isn't it?
It does look like Blackpool. Surely that is Blackpool, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know Blackpool well enough.
No,
There's
I
a
don't
tower
know.
there.
Bowled him. Fucking hell, Root's not going to make a ton. And Mitchell Marsh. No, it's not Mitchell Marsh. Thank God for that. It's
Cummins again.
Cummins gets a wicket. He has done Root on the outside edge of his bat once more. He does seem to be standing there. Maybe they're looking at a no ball. What are they doing?
Just standing there in disbelief, I think.
Kept
a little bit low.
Maybe kept a little bit low.
I know Root always sort of implies that any ball that's bowled was kept a little bit low, and he's jabbed his bat on the ground. But I think that did hit halfway up the stump. But I think it moved a bit laterally as well.
I think it did.
In any case, this is the result.
The tired Rooty.
Go OUT the window. Go OUT the window. Go OUT the window. 'Cause OUT spells out.
Well, Leia says they're nothing like Clan Edbear. They're much more metal, and not
More metal than Clanad.
not shit.
Rock on.
Clanad were dreadful.
But more disappointment for England. Burns has gone for 47, Root for something in the high
57.
50s. And if you want to put 400 up, someone's got to go on and go big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maverick Land says fishing quotas outside off stump, only on Gorilla Cricket and Mezzy Jazz.
Both of those being in the channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Along with a bunch of migrants.
nice one.
I don't mind at all.
They collected a load the other day, didn't they?
Yeah.
And,
Bring them on. Come on.
my mate lived down in Hastings, and he said one day he was walking down the street on the seaside, and a transit van pulled up, screeched to a halt. The back doors opened, and about 8 of these blokes got out. The door and the van just drove off, and they're all standing there completely
Screeching
confused.
tyres.
Just
I think that did keep a little low, actually. It almost went under his bat, didn't it?
Why have you dropped us in Hastings of all places?
Yeah, they didn't realise it was going to be this bad. Anyway, it's both of England's erstwhile wicket keepers at the crease.
Pryor ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone Sutler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler. 1 S and 2 T's, Joss Butler.
Ravi Nair wants to know if they got the Samaritans number for batsmen that get out to Mitchell Marsh.
Well, that'd be Stokesy.
He must have gone through a couple of bats after that in the changing rooms.
I don't think that has gone under Joe Root's bat. I
No,
think it
but
kept a bit
as-
low, but it still went past the outside of his bat.
Yeah, maybe you're right. So it didn't get high up on the bat. See, that one's pitched in not dissimilar position and it's gone over the top of off stump as Butler leaves it on length through to the keeper and there's no run.
Well, if he's leaving on length, he didn't see the last ball. I think he did leave that on line, to be fair.
It certainly bounced a lot harder. Not a dissimilar
It's a
length.
bit shorter, I think.
You think? I don't know. I don't think it was. I don't think it was that much shorter than the previous delivery. But hey, it doesn't matter. What happens, happens. And occasionally shit happens. He got 57. I'd like to have seen him get a ton. But he's not. Bairstow's on 22. Stokes got 20, didn't he? And a lot of starts once more. And not going on to get the big scores. Butler leaves that alone outside his off stump. There's no run. 174. Hey, it's Mick.
Sir Mick Jagger's in the crowd.
Absolutely. Sitting with.
I don't know.
He looks familiar though.
Yeah, what am I doing at the cricket? Where's Keith? Go old Mick. He's a big cricket fan.
Massive cricket fan.
Yeah.
He's got loads of money. Maybe we should approach him. Come on, Mick. You want your own
Wasn't
service.
he?
Apparently he bought some rights for some stuff in Dubai once as well. 'Cause
Did he?
yeah, because he wanted to listen to it or something. Some competition that was in Dubai. Oh wow, that's gone a long way. Reverse maybe from Cummins or just in swing. Anyway, it's gone down a leg side. Payne does manage to get there. Stops it and there's no run.
Wasn't he involved in the actual start of Crick Info when it was called something else? Jagged Works. It was his company that
Well,
did the Crick Info before it was Crick Info.
It may have been that. He's also
I think
he's
so.
definitely got his own website. That's he bought some rights for something in the UAE.
Didn't he want to see the scores live when he was on tour or something?
Yeah, he wanted to be out here or something.
Yeah.
So he basically bought the rights so that he could get it broadcast, so that he could listen to it. Cummins is up to the crease again. That one's too wide of off stump, going away this time. And Butler has nothing to do with that either. Through the keeper and there's no run.
Looks fit and healthy after his heart scare recently this year.
Yeah, when they're back out on tour, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, how old is he? 78?
Yeah, they've just finished a load of dates in the US.
This is their final tour, but they always say that.
They've been saying that for a long
Well,
time.
I don't know if it is.
Yeah, I think it did be that.
Well, there's nothing else that bloody Keith Richards can do, is there?
It doesn't need to do
Think
it.
of a
does
couple
it?
of things.
I mean, I think the thing is, if you stop, you're scared that, everything just halts, doesn't it? And then you're waiting to die. You might as well carry on. He's a rock and roller.
There's not many bands actually go full hog and retire.
No.
Ooh.
That comes back into Butler. Kind of hangs the bat at it. He's non-committal on the crease. No real forward press, but gets the inside half of the bat, goes down a long leg, gets himself off the mark and retains the strike. He moves on to 1. Bairstow 22 and the England score is 171 for 4.
Yeah, Rush did, but basically Neil Peart just couldn't go on anymore. I mean, they played so many gigs. He just
Well,
physically You know, he had whatever repetitive injuries in his arms and just couldn't.
Was he the drummer?
Couldn't drum
Yeah.
anymore. No,
Didn't he
no.
lose his wife, daughter, and
He-
dog
he
in the
lose-
same sort of month or something?
It was, I don't think the same month, but he lost his wife when he was mourning his daughter. Yes.
And then
Something
he
like that.
went on a road
Went
trip
on a huge motorcycle ride all the
and
way
wrote a
around
really good
America.
book about it.
I keep meaning to get that
Yeah.
book. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're a big
They
Rush
took a
fan.
long. Oh, my favourite.
You don't need to be a Rush fan to enjoy the book. to
No,
be
I'm
honest.
sure not. Oh dear, how did his daughter die? That must have been.
Do you know? I
Don't know.
think it was an illness, but I'm not
Oh right,
quite
okay.
sure.
But it wasn't an accident. It wasn't a sudden thing.
Leia says, English fishermen looking forward to Brexit to free them from fishing restrictions. Iceland already ordering a giant batch of harpoon missiles to fuck them once again.
Absolutely. Down the leg side,
Oh.
there's an appeal. No, fuck off, Payne. I think that came off the thigh. You can review it if you like.
That's the
He's
thing.
convinced.
Well, he does seem to be convinced, and Marcus Harris,
Yeah.
he's reviewing this one. That would seem to be in line with the tone of his celebration, which did actually seem quite convincing for once.
It did, but he always seems convinced, and then someone goes, "No, it's not out." So
Right.
let's have a look. Well, it won't
Let's
be.
see.
Well, it is Mitch Marsh as well.
I'm
It's
not a
not
big
an
fan of
oval.
these review jingles, so just let it go.
Okay, fair enough. Wishira Paliu Garugi.
No,
hit his
it's just
glove?
hit his pocket, if anything.
It's hit his pocket, and I mean, it could have hit his glove. I mean, it looks like
You
it's gone
can't see from
past.
here,
Doesn't
can
seem
you?
to be anywhere near it from there.
No, it looks to have gone past it. Although, let's have a look.
Looks a bit low on the
Ultra
glove.
edge.
No.
No, it's low on the
No.
glove.
Well
Didn't
under,
hit the
below
bat.
the glove.
It's
Move
hit
on.
nothing.
Let's just see if it. Yeah,
Move on.
hit his pocket.
Hit his pocket. There you go. So, Australia loser review.
Steve Kellett says, ooh, Pluke. Anyway, greetings from Jakarta. Yeah, Mick Jagger sponsored the streaming TV coverage of something from the West Indies years ago.
Oh, he did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I heard it got some stuff in the UAE too. So,
Leia says, to be fair, who actually expects Root to make triple figures at this point in time? Well, expect or like.
well, I kind of do actually. He's a good enough batsman to go on, but he's stuck in Bell territory. As I brought out a stat to prove 2 tests ago. Marsh is in, and it's defended by Butler back down the track, and there's no run.
Maverick Land just says Radiohead, question mark. I like
Does he
Ra-
mean have they retired?
I like Radiohead. Leia says Neil Peart is a kind of an arsehole Ayn Rand fan, so I find it hard to feel for him.
Ayn Rand is a wanker.
Not that was 40 years ago. People can change their opinions.
Maverick Land says we review awfully. Yeah, even Payne said that he was shit at reviewing.
That's
Shot.
a beautiful drive though by Butler. Doesn't really move his feet, but it's full and swinging away, and he just follows the swing and bashes it through the covers, out to the extra cover boundary, and he gets 4 runs.
The number of the day. Who could ask for more? The number of the day is 4.
Yeah, nice shot.
That was a lovely shot. It was very full. Actually hit it under his eyes.
Well, I
He
think,
moves feet.
given the circumstances, I think Butler just free his shoulders and go for it, mate. Fuck it. Go on.
Something like that.
That's what I think. That's what I'd whisper in his ear.
I think that would put him off. As
Yeah,
the bowler was coming in.
If I was standing there, what the hell is he doing there? Just fucking hit it, mate. Go on.
Just go on. Go on. Just hit it. Marsh up to the. Oh dear, oh dear. That one doesn't swing away, and Butler leaves it. It can't have been too far away from his off stump. He did get bowled leaving one in the last test.
There's the shard.
Indeed.
You see that bloody thing from everywhere, can't you?
Sharding away.
Sharding away, indeed.
Lots
I
of-
always thought the top of it was unfinished.
It looks it from this angle.
It does look at it
That's-
from that angle, but it's
that's the
supposed to be like that.
architect. Yeah. I went up the shard. That's not a euphemism for anything.
Left alone outside the off stump by Butler through the keeper. There's no one. You have to pay to go up there, don't you?
No, I was taken up there.
Oh right, okay.
But it's
You were taken up the shard.
yes. Hang on. It's spectacular views. Flipping hell,
I
it is.
imagine.
Quite incredible.
Oh, look, fair enough. If you go on the London Eye, you will get a hell of a view from the top.
Yeah, I don't like the thought of moving like that. I
It
don't
moves
trust
very
that.
slowly.
Very slowly. Yeah, it's
I
quite.
mean,
cool.
I even had the old tingling, when I
those
got
ones
up, went
near
up
us
there.
with the big fans on the top there at Elephant Castle. That one's defended out to the offside by Butler. Bairstow even. Sorry. No, it was Butler. At the end of the
Alice,
no run.
Alice Clark Commissar says ABBA stayed retired.
They did.
Yeah, more or less.
Even,
Yeah.
aren't they talking about having a comeback?
Yeah.
I think one of the women doesn't want to though.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one. There's some talk about
I
this
think
on
the blonde
here
one,
about 6 months ago. Yeah.
Well, she's been a semi-recluse for a long time, isn't she? She lives on an island in Sweden.
Probably owns the island.
I think she
Yeah.
does own it.
Agnes, isn't it, that one?
Agneta.
Agneta. No, it's the
Agneta.
other one. The blonde one.
Annie Fried.
Yeah.
There you go.
Roger Melly says, why is Joss using Australian fucking bat? What's wrong with the good old Gray Nichols or Duncan Fernley?
Who's that?
Roger Melly. So asking why Joss is using an Aussie bat.
What's he using? Spartan.
I don't know.
Kookaburra, I
Handmade,
guess.
isn't it? Kookaburra.
Yeah, looks like
oh,
Oh,
oh, oh!
oi.
No, I don't know if he got an edge on that, but if he did, it was a
Hilarious.
juggled. But Payne's having a terrible time behind the
No,
stumps.
he's not having a good day.
That one seemed to spit through at a decent pace, a bit high. He palmed it, then tried to catch it, battered it past first step. I don't know if second step caught it in the end.
He's pretending
No,
to
he
hurt
was
himself.
definitely appealing before he'd caught that one.
Oh,
They
this
got
Caught
it-
in
they
the end
got
at
it in
first
the
slip
end.
after.
But you watch, he's definitely shouting before the ball's gone into his gloves.
Well, he didn't fucking catch it very well, did he?
No,
Fortunately, it didn't go down, but it wasn't out.
that looks clumsy.
And then he's hurt himself. He didn't take that cleanly. That's a better drive by Bairstow. Actually, not well timed in the end. And it goes up to mid-off. There's no run.
Leia didn't realise that he dropped the Iron Rand shite. There's a builder dancing.
Dancing. He doesn't realise he's on
Doesn't
TV.
want to do much building.
No, he's going to
No.
be in trouble with his boss. He hasn't got his high-vis jacket on properly.
No, and they're on top of the Lord Tennyson School.
Are they?
Yeah, doing the scaffolding up there.
Yeah, it's a Kookaburra bat that Joss is using, probably because they pay him.
Yeah, probably.
Probably isn't even a Kookaburra bat.
No, it's just got the stickers on, made by his personal bat maker. Cummins in, bowls, short, wide, outside the off stump, and Bairstow just leaves it through to Payne, no run.
Well, as we speak, I expect tense negotiations are going on in the green room as to whether anybody is actually going to
Well,
come
this
in
is
and
true, there
replace
is
us.
supposed to be a
Wake
change. Oh,
No, that's replay.
replay.
Well, there are two novels, says Leia, that can change a bookish 14-year-old's life. The Lord of the Rings and Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, so in one direction or the other.
One
yes.
is a childish fantasy that often engenders a lifelong obsession with the unbelievable heroes, leading to an emotionally stunted, socially crippled adulthood, unable to deal with the real world. The other, of course,
Is
involves
Lord
orcs.
of the Rings.
What was Atlas Shrugged? I've never read Atlas Shrugged.
It's a monumentally long. I don't think anybody's read it.
Riven at by Bairstow. Swing takes it past his outside edge, and it's taken by Payne on the dive, and there ain't no run.
Brian Barish tells us there's Paul McCartney who's still going at 77. I have a feeling he'll be touring into his 110s because of the divorce with Heather Mills.
Yeah, possibly.
He's got enough money.
She only got 23 mil, didn't she?
Yeah.
Sure, that's enough to keep her going for the rest of her life. Did they have a kid? Can't remember. They did, didn't they?
I don't think they did they? He'd had
That's her.
3 already, didn't he?
Stop hopping, Fred. Stop hopping.
I'm in Perth, so obviously a march
could
is
you
to be
grab me a
defended.
beer, by the way, before you come back on? Fuck's sake.
It's going to be not Fred. It's going to be Knackle, and it's going to be maybe someone else.
It's going to be me. I'm staying on.
Okay.
I'm going to move to where you are.
Okie doke.
Outside half the bat by Bairstow, out to Gully, and no run. Marcus Harris is filling there. He's incredibly clean shaven today, and very young.
I think he might be in the last chance saloon for at least a while. He needs some
Yeah, I
runs
thought
in
he
this
was quite
game.
good in Australia last year when I watched him against India.
Didn't he get 180?
Yeah, he did. He got a big score, and he did all right throughout the whole series, really. Considering they were missing Warner and
Maybe
Smith.
the series away in England is the one openers want to be strategically injured for.
Well, I think if you're going to prove anything, you want to continue it and prove you can do it away. You've got to do it in all conditions. You can't just do it at home. That was Kawata's problem for a while. Trying to work on the leg side of Bairstow, got it onto his thigh pad, and it just dribbles out on the leg side.
Fortunately, he
and there's no
solved
run.
that in this series.
Indeed, and that's the end of the over. At the end of my spell, I don't know who's doing ball by ball, but I'm in. I think Knackle.
No, you're staying here.
I'm staying, but I'm going
Yeah.
over to where you are. But
Okay.
I'm not doing
Che
ball by ball.
Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla Cricket.
175-4-4, 59 overs have gone, and the game since tea has swung a little bit towards Australia, with one wicket falling in the 7 overs, and only 6 runs being scored. The over rate has been just dreadfully slow all day. I think we had 52 overs at tea, which is 4 hours of play, 13 overs an hour. Not good enough. As Mitch Marsh starts a new over to Butler, well outside the off stump, left through to Payne, which he takes for a change.
Maverick Land says, I'm in Perth, so obviously a marsh is to be defended. But as I do not watch and only listen, is Mitch doing mush? To which Barry's Chins says, he got a wicket. It's nibbling a little for Mitch Marsh, and he's bowling economically. A similar spell to the kind that Shane Watson used to bowl for Australia, bowling accurately, going about 2 and over, and frustrating batsmen into playing dumb shots.
Yeah, he's got a bit of away swing going. It's quite slow and from the hand.
It's not that slow. Bowling sort of Siddle's pace. He's in again, and that shapes away from Butler, but he gets the middle of the bat on it, drives it back to the bowler, no run. That said 85.8 miles an hour.
Yeah, it did.
Maybe not. Did you hear Michael Vaughan said, I didn't hear him say it, but apparently he said during the 2005 series, they were manipulating the speed gun.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They were turning it up for the England players as Marsh bowls again, Butler on the back foot defends. They think about a single. There's Labuschagne comes steaming in from square leg, probably doesn't really pick up the ball, slides on, demolishes the stumps. But
Nearly took out Butler.
That's,
no wicket a cruise.
That's a red card for Marnus Labuschagne for going studs up on the stumps.
Well, he came in, tried to pick it up, didn't, just kept sliding. He hit the base of leg stump with his boot.
Could have got a nasty knee in the face there as well.
Well, not quite the base, in fact. He lifted his legs and thumped into the main part of the stump.
Keep your legs together, Marnus. Bairstow is brought on to strike, and he'll be facing Mitchell Marsh. He bowls very full ball, and he's appealed for LBW. I think that's going down the leg side, but umpire Erasmus doesn't. He thinks that's going to hit the stumps. He's given him out LBW. I would appeal that, Johnny. I think that's swinging down the leg side.
I wonder if that just straightened at the last second.
I don't think it did. I think
You've got 5 seconds left. They are going to review it, and it only needs to be clipping for the umpire's decision to be upheld. It was a very full ball. It hit him on the full, on the boot. And my first impression was that it was going down leg side, but it was close. There's no question of a no ball. And let's see. I think that.
Oh wait, no,
it's hit him on the top of the foot, just at the very bottom of the
Well,
pad.
remember, because it's hit him on the full, they sort of have to draw a straight line through the path of the ball, so this could be a point against Johnny Bairstow.
A straight line from where to where?
Well, you have to follow the original path of the ball. So
But it was swinging.
It swung.
And I'm sure that's swinging down the leg side. Oh no, it says it's hitting leg stump. Well,
that doesn't look right to me, but
it didn't look like it was hitting the inside of leg stump as Hawkeye suggested. Please talk on about this supposed straight line because it was on the full. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
In theory, the umpire is supposed to say that it would follow the original path of the ball. Sometimes, if it's hit on the full, sometimes Hawkeye can slightly overcorrect for that and not account for the full amount that the ball's swinging. I thought that this was out if it had kept on swinging in. I thought it had gone the other way just at the last second. It didn't. Probably it was clipping leg stump.
Clipping the outside of leg stump.
Anyway, it's
and
one
it
of
said
these.
it was hitting the inside of leg stump. Well, all I can say is if Virat Kohli would have got that decision, India would be doing without the DRS for at least the next 10 years. It didn't look right, but these things happen sometimes. And Bairstow is on his way. England have lost a review, and a good start is being dissipated.
Yes.
Indeed. Well, Simon Cameron's going to come and save us.
Australia have done well since tea. England went into tea at
3 down.
169 for 3. They've now lost 2 for 7.
And
the new batsman will be jingled up.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. He's not from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
Well, you can only call those as you see them first up, and it looked to me leggy, but Hawkeye disagrees, and Hawkeye is the one that they have to go by. So
Well, he did get his
Bairstow's
pad in the
gone.
way of his bat, didn't he?
Well, it was a bit of a shuffle, but that was after the ball had hit the bat.
Yeah,
Let's
but
see.
where he's coming around his pad, so he can
It
get...
has come in a long way and come in late. For once, actually, Johnny Bairstow not leaving a gap between bat and pad.
Who
And
was it there who was just refusing to look at the
wave.
was it Way? Yeah, he didn't want to look at the screen as the Hawkeye was playing out. Anyway, Curran is on strike. He's left-handed, and he was facing up to Mitchell Marsh. He just about gets about on that and takes a sort of a Kevin Peterson get off the mark single, where there was just about a single there. Curran in at number 7, probably one place, or maybe two too high. I think people have been a little bit seduced by his batting.
he certainly
He's
got
more of a hitter than a batsman.
I mean, he certainly got England out of a hole on a number of occasions against India last summer,
and where was he batting?
7 or 8.
As high as 7?
Wokes didn't play the whole series.
Well, he's no longer on strike. Butler is facing up to Marsh. It's full and swinging and carved away down to backward point by Butler. They've taken 1. Did they come back for 2? I think they have, yes. 179 for 5. 2 more to Butler. The end of the 60th over. 179 for 5. What do the tweeters have to say?
Adelaide Barmy says, I know apropos, I don't quite know what this is in relation to. Lord of the Rings is an immense tome akin to the works of Shelley and Keats. Ignore him, he's drunk. I don't know who the he refers to in that sentence. 100 Years of Solitude is better and shorter. And Paul says in response to Maverick Land's question about Marsh, just bowled Bairstow, or rather got him LEW. I will say it was a good ball from Mitchell Marsh. It was the first ball that he'd got to swing into the right-hander rather than away from the left-hander, and it did surprise Bairstow.
And I will say, when we're looking at it front on, as the camera always does, you can't always judge how far forward or back a batsman is.
He was trapped on the crease.
He wasn't as far forward as one might have thought, even though
It's a poor scorecard, though. I mean, there's 2 people who've got nearly 50, or one who's got 50, one who's got nearly 50. 2 20s and a full... I mean, people have got themselves in and got them out.
they are facing a skillful. I mean,
Well, they are,
Yeah,
but-
Stokes played an injudicious shot to a ball
As
that probably
did
wasn't there. for it.
probably did, so did Burns, probably.
I think Burns' was more of a forced error.
Oh.
Anyway, Cummins will be bowling to Curran, right arm over the wicket, shorter ball, and Curran moves across outside the off stump and then decides to leave it late, but it wasn't the most convincing of leaves.
Yeah, we've seen Pat Cummins in 2 Ashes series now turn Chris Wokes from a very competent lower order batsman with pretensions of moving up the order into a bit of a walking wicket against the short ball. I wonder if the plan is similar to Sam Curran.
This new elite honesty and elite sort of matefulness and everything else of the Australian team.
Elite matefulness, I like that.
They seem to be, I think they're just sledging as much as they ever used to, but they're doing it with forced smiles on their faces, so it doesn't look quite as bad as the snarls. I mean, Warner keeps getting out and walking off, grinning to himself like a demented village idiot.
Smiling assassin.
I'm just wondering if that's the only change in their thing, in their demeanour is cosmetic rather than. Because Cummins followed through there on Curran and had something to say, but he said it with a malicious grin on his face. Anyway, a short leg is coming into Curran, so he might expect something a little bit shorter and aimed at the ribs as Pat Cummins is up to the wicket, bowls a short ball and it's pulled out towards long leg and over long leg's head. Well, that's one
Take
way
that.
to take on the short ball. The first 6 of the day.
I like that. That was pretty cool.
You wouldn't have said that if Longleg had caught it.
No,
Well,
and it
no.
wasn't very far away from him. Let's see how flat this was. If Hendo, you remember Hendo? He used to commentate for us.
Yeah. He's
He
asleep
probably
next door,
would have
isn't
called that a smaximum because it went pretty flat.
he? It did actually, didn't it?
No, it was well over the long leg fielder's head, but it was in that exact direction.
Well, Sammy Curran's, I think he's quite a good bat, actually, out of contrary to you.
I think he's a hitter rather than a batsman.
I think he's got the ability to stay there as well. I mean, it may not be the most offensive of batsman, but he's certainly got all his shots. He's got a decent
I
eye.
think Longleg's moved a bit squarer.
Let's see if it's another short one from Cummins. It's a good length ball, and Cummins moves over to the offside to try and turn it round to
Away jump like a belly dancer.
fine leg, misses the ball, hits him on the pad, dot ball.
I thought for a second you said Wade jumps like a belly dancer.
Well, a belly dancer is what I said. He leapt across like Nureyev. leaping across a...
If you like cricketing ballet dancer crossovers, go to our website and you'll find a video of an interview that was done with the Australian
That's it.
Alexander
Premier-
Campbell.
Premier
Alexander Campbell.
dancer of the Royal Ballet, was he?
Yeah,
What
something
they
like
call
that.
Cummins bowls full,
that's
and that is
out.
LBW, and the plumbest of plums is a full ball.
Oh,
It hit
for
Curran in
fuck's
front of
sake.
middle stump. He's not a batsman, he's a hitter, and he's gone.
That was a 3-card trick, wasn't it? Length, short, full.
Yeah, if you do that in every innings, you'll just average 7 in Test cricket, which is about what, I don't know, Jimmy Anderson's averaging. That was the plumbest LBW of all time. He should have walked.
Little hint of swing in from Pat Cummins. I'm not quite sure what Murray Erasmus is talking to them about at this stage.
He's
It's a no ball!
Oh, it is a no ball.
It's not the plumbest LBW of all time. It's one run for England.
I mean, it's both.
I'm hoping he's not left the field.
Well, you kind of got off by then. You should have been warned.
Oh,
That's a no ball, mate.
you think
clearly a no
You
ball.
think Pat Cummins would have learned from Jack Leach?
Is that a no?
I don't
Yes,
think. I
that
don't
is
think.
a no ball.
I don't think there's anything behind the line.
There's nothing behind the ball. There's nothing behind the line.
No
Thank
ball
you
it
very
is.
much.
And Pat Cummins, let's see you smile your way through this one, big man.
Absolutely.
Well, this is interesting actually, because if you're Sam Curran, you need to be thinking to yourself, what am I going to do different to that same ball?
Clip it nicely through square leg
well,
for 4.
Don't walk
Or
across the
don't
stump.
walk across the stumps. You've
Yeah.
had a life.
I think he's changing his guard now to middle and leg. So
No, I think he's asking 2 balls left, isn't he?
there's
yeah,
three
there's
balls left.
three
There's
balls
3
left.
balls left.
Yeah, he may be taking a different guard. Well, he's had a life.
Because his head was, the jingle wears your head out. His head was outside off stump when the ball was on middle.
He was falling over to the offside. Anyway, Cummins is going to have another go. He bowls down the leg side, and guess what? Curran walks across his stumps, and had it been a straight ball, he would have been plumb LBW again, but it missed the leg stump, not by very much.
Not by much. That was nearly bowled round his legs, wasn't it?
And so I don't think he's learned his lesson.
I don't think he likes the pace, but it's. I think it must be quite difficult coming into the 5th test of a series, especially when
he faced a pretty good pace attack last summer.
Yeah, true, but he hasn't played a test match for a while. He's been hanging around in county cricket. He's been 12th man essentially for 4 tests on the trot. Finally gets to go in ostensibly not a dead rubber, but
Would he prefer not to be playing? I mean,
well,
yeah,
no, I presume he would like to be playing, but it's difficult to get up to speed.
Cummins
at
in
the
again,
same
bowls
time.
a short ball outside the off stump, which swings away. Curran ducked, but it was not threatening his body under any circumstances.
And there were those stats earlier in the day as well when they brought up, all Sydney Barnes and all those, how many points they'd have scored at the maximum point of their career and stuff. I mean, I think what they were trying to imply that he's the 5th best bowler of all time currently.
Pat Cummins equal with Glenn McGrath on that by that
Really?
calculation.
Yeah.
Colour me sceptical.
Kind of you sceptical. Let's get his stats up. Come on. Oh, by the way, let's have a look at what happened in the end with the GPL as well.
Well, it's all live as Cummins bowls, and that's hit him on the pad, but it pitched outside leg stump. What's the umpire going to say now? He's going, nah, that's not out. Have they got any reviews left? I think they have, but they're not going to use it. Or do they not have reviews
No,
left?
they do.
They do.
Anyway, the
They
end
do
of the
review.
61st over, 186 for
Well-
5. Eventful over there from Cummins to Curran.
Steve Kellett says this is all becoming depressingly predictable. Nom nom, soft, chewy middle order. To which Brian Barish says, if England cricket was a cookie, what would it taste like? Gus Somerville
Chocolate
says,
chip.
oh dear, Mitch has managed 2 wickets. He'll play for the next 2 series now without achieving anything. I've read this book before.
We had 23 entries finally in the GPL today, ranging from 100 to 267. I don't know if we'll get there. What are you doing? All the way through to 363.
That's going to be a bit of a stretch from here.
It's going to be a massive stretch from here. 267 is going to be doable.
If Curran hits a 60 ball 100, it's possible.
267 is quite likely. With an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to go.
Anyway, March is still in the attack, unsurprisingly. He's taken 2 for 25, 11 overs. He's the 5th bowler that Australia have not had at any point during this innings, during this series, rather. And he'll be bowling to Joss Buttler, who has 8 runs as Marsh bowls to him. Good ball on off stump, defended by Buttler.
So Mitch Marsh has 118 wickets at 21 in Test matches. 24 Test matches he's played.
You mean Pat Cummins?
Pat Cummins is.
I was going to say, Jesus.
What did I say?
You
Mitch
said
Marsh.
Mitch Marsh.
Yeah, I meant Pat Cummins, obviously. Well, I can give you. I'll give you Mitch Marsh's stats.
Why not?
Why not?
Whilst
indeed.
we're here.
Mitch Marsh's Test match stats are.
He bowls to Butler, leaves a swinging ball into not Wade's gloves. What's the bloke's name? Payne. That's it.
Bowling. He's just 52 innings, 31 matches. He played more matches than Pat Cummins. He's got 35 wickets at 43.91.
Well, Pat Cummins did miss 6 years of Test
exactly,
cricket with a bad injury
And
between
Mitch
his
Marsh
first and second Test matches.
Invariably came in at various points to stopgap.
Yeah, not a very successful stopgap in the last.
His batting
tour of
average is
England.
only 25.39 as well, so he's a poor rounder.
He bowls to Butler, and Butler watches an away swinging delivery outside his off stump and doesn't essay a shot.
There was a stat when Mitchell Marsh was brought back into the Australian team before the third Test of the 2017-18 Ashes, that Mitchell Marsh had the lowest average for a batter at number 6 in Test history for a decent number of games, and then he scored a big 100.
He did. A very big. It was about
He scored a
160.
double. Didn't he score a
Yeah.
double 100 against
It was
us?
180, I think.
Yeah.
180. That was depressing.
Marsh bowls on the leg stump of Butler. They're
It's
going
way
up for
down
LBW appeal. Again, I thought it was going down leg, but my judgment, as you've all heard in the last
Well, that one pitched.
10 minutes, is suspect. But they don't review it.
The difference with that one is that it wasn't nearly as full, so it had a lot almost. It wasn't as. It wasn't
hit-
tempting
it-
Murray
it hit-
Erasmus
it-
to
I think
make
it hit him
a
outside
decision.
The
leg stump,
outside
yeah.
of the pad, yeah, it was going well down the leg side. Marsh appeals and then is agonised as the appeal is turned down, but then doesn't review it. So much for the agony. Oh, it says. Oh no, the impact was umpire's call. This is a big swinging delivery, but starts wide outside the off stump and goes further. Payne does well to cling on.
A lot of talk about Somerset's thumping victory against Yorkshire in the county championship to say top rather of Division 1. Arrowell North and Brian Carpenter talking about that. Linux Lear says, "Don't you dare take Murley's name in vain, Bear." I'm not quite sure what that's
I
about.
didn't take Murray's name in. What did I take Murray's name in vain for?
I don't think we even mentioned Murley, did we?
Exactly.
No, we were talking about bowlers. As
Oh,
Marsh
come on.
bowls to Joss Butler full on leg stump, and it's sweetly driven, timed to mid-on by Butler, but doesn't beat the man. The end of the 62nd over, 186 for
His
5.
face is really long, isn't it?
Mitch
And,
Marsh.
and his ears are quite small for his head.
Yeah, it's kind of like just sort of long, thin head.
You're listening to Let's Dissect People's Appearances
You're
on
listening
Guerrilla
to
Cricket.
Physiognomy on Guerrilla
His
Cricket.
eyes are a bit too close together.
Isn't there a G in physiognomy somewhere?
There is. Roger Melly says, "That wasn't a pull, that was an old-fashioned hook. Ricky Ponting would have been proud of that." Ricky Ponting, the best puller in Test cricket of recent times, didn't play the hook shot that much. Takashi Hara says, "Why Curran over Wokes? Almost as confusing as Siddle over Pattinson." Well, Curran and Wokes are both playing for England in this Test. Roger Melly says, "I'd love to see some Justin Cam after that no-ball dismissal." Linux Lear says, "Time for the Universe Joss to rise from ignominy, like some of those superheroes believed dead in my girlfriend's comics."
We did see Justin's face after that plum LBW was overturned, or was rather negated by a front foot no ball, and he didn't look too impressed. Curran is going to face up to Cummins again. Let's see what happens this time. It's a short ball, not that quick actually, a bit loopy as it drops into Payne's gloves over the head of Curran, although it says 88 miles an hour, so what do I know.
Going back to your point about Michael Vaughan claiming / boasting that England had tampered with the speed guns during the 2005 Ashes.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that it was in the control of the players, or are they saying that the host broadcaster?
I believe that's what they were suggesting. They wanted Harmison's to be turned up so that it would put the fear of God into the Aussies, and Brett Lee's to be turned down for the same reason. To think that they weren't bowling all that well. Cummins bowls again, a ball which shapes back into Curran. He drives it. He's got it between the stumps and the mid-off. It's not going to get to the boundary. A rather lumbered chase from Marsh. Manages to retrieve the ball, but they do come through for 3 runs. which takes Curran to 10.
Gitz and Grat says on YouTube, talking of physiognomy, was the guy in the middle chair created an experiment akin to the film Twins, where the fathers were Danny DeVito, Danny Baker, and David Guest?
Send us pictures of you, and we can pull apart your appearance.
Monash SQ says Plum and Lock Plum the whole time. I think that's the current LBW that wasn't.
Well, honestly, I think every umpire in the world, even some of the cheating umpires we see in league cricket on a Saturday, would have given that one out.
Absolutely.
For their own teammates, because it couldn't have been Plummer.
Paulie Walnut says, mate with me. Nah.
Pass, actually.
Superbus Staradub says, how's that?
Cummins bowls, and Butler turns this to mid-on, sets off quickly, and then stops after 3 paces. He was run out, wasn't he, in the
Headingley Test, second innings.
Yeah.
Sold down the river by Ben Stokes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dear, that was a bit grim. Anyway, this is no run, still 1-8-9-4-5.
Lawrence Jameson says, where does this series rank in terms of decision reversals? I don't have those stats to hand. It's not as easy as you'd think to pull those stats together. But
somebody must be keeping hold of them.
Yeah, I think we may well see some stats at the end. I think I think since Erasmus has come in, the standard of umpiring has gone up dramatically.
Cummins bowls again, and Butler does wave a bat at the ball, which swings away outside his off stump, pulls it back in though, and makes it look like he never attempted to play that.
On Crick Tracker, Gardinan Shinde says, hi Rana Irfan says, also says, hi Dilawal Dil says, very nice. Chris Angel is with us. Chandan Rajput is with us. Kati Darbar says, hello everyone, how are you? Very well, thank you, how are you?
He was talking to everyone, not just you.
Well,
the whole world. Pitt Cummins, 18.4 overs, 2 for 57. He's bowling really well, and he's in again to Butler. It's full, and it's outside edge, but it's gone square of the gully down to a vacant third man. A rare boundary for England.
4. What is it good for?
Are you looking at something else on the jingle machine?
No, the jingle machine's crashed.
No,
So I'm restarting.
Adelaide Barmy says, right, it's Bedfordshire here at Chateau Ad Balm. Get us the stumps, please, for no more bloody wickets, or else. And
Or else
Linksay says,
what?
I don't know. Linksay says, the Smiling Assassin. Your comment is a common nickname for Murali. Here's NASA explaining it in a video, which is a masterclass with Murali.
NASA does all the inserts for Sky Sports. He's a very busy man. Cummins bowls full. Basically a half volley, but slightly swinging. Butler drives it up to mid-off, doesn't time it, and that's the end of the over. 193 for 5.
And that's us up to date on tweets. Please tweet us at Gorilla Cricket, and please leave us comments as well if you're watching on our own Facebook feed, facebook.com/Gorilla Cricket, or on Crick Tracker, or on YouTube.
If you're enjoying our coverage, and why wouldn't you be, because it's absolutely terrific, you are able to send us money. There are a number of ways you can do that. You can go to our Patreon page, which is Patreon, patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket, and you can make a donation to us. It can be as small as a couple of dollars a month. It's a regular monthly donation which keeps us going, keeps us in equipment, keeps the bear in beer.
Absolutely.
Or you could send us some money on PayPal as well, which I believe is available to most of the world. If you send that money to gorillacricket@gmail.com, we will get it, and we will spend it wisely.
Absolutely.
Cummins and Marsh bowled throughout the session.
Yeah, they have so
They're
far.
bowling well. Marsh bowls, and Curran cuts over the head of Gully very quickly down to the third man boundary for 4 runs.
2 + 2 is our man.
Now although I don't think Curran is a batsman, but he can hit the ball very hard, and he can take a game away from the bowling team very quickly. He can get himself to 30 and 40 and 50 in no time at all.
That was actually it was well in the gap between gully and backward point.
Yeah, but it was
aerial.
sort of at catchable height to where a fielder would be in those positions. But he does hit the ball hard, and Australia have dropped a lot of catches today. So even if it went to a fielder, Lyon I think's moved a little bit further behind point as Marsh bowls it again, and this comes back in. He gets an inside edge. He goes very fine down to fine leg. He wasn't in control of that shot at all, but picks up a single. Does Curran 198 for 5?
See, this is interesting, isn't it? I mean, in the last game there wasn't a lot of swing most of the game. Again, we're back to if you bowl at the right pace. Clearly, there's swing there.
Well, yeah, Curran should absolutely
Really love this.
Yeah, for sure.
enjoy this.
Bowls a probably similar pace to Mitchell Marsh, maybe a little slower.
No, I think he bowls probably 5 or 6 miles an hour slower than Mitch Marsh.
No. I mean, he bowls at 80, 81, 82.
And Marsh is
Plays-
bowling 85, 86.
Yeah, most of the time he's bowling 81, 82. I mean, if you look at speeds, most of the time they're not 85, 86.
The camera alights on Steve Waugh and Usman Khawaja as this is a short ball outside the off stump. It does swing away after pitching, but very wide and unreachable for Butler.
And of course, he should know this ground very well.
Yeah, that's a bit of an overstated point.
Thought I'd bung that in there just for you to have
why
an
did you
argument
why
about
did
it.
you just turn into Sid James?
Yeah, Steve Waugh's talking probably about the technique of batting to Usman Khawaja, and if he's got any sense, he'll be listening hard, because Waugh knew a thing about that. As this is full and driven by Butler, he's searching for that Yorker. Couldn't quite find it. It was driven up to mid-off, not time, no run.
There's kind of a lot in here.
As much tenacity as technique, Stephen Waugh bore the opposition out.
Oh, he was better than that. He was a very good player, and he's quite a nice guy, isn't he, Bear?
Who?
Steve Waugh.
Yeah, he was alright actually, wasn't he?
Had the pleasure of meeting him earlier this year.
Sandgroper says, I once gave a teammate not out on a Plummer LBW than that in a club game over 30 years ago. It's been on my conscience ever since.
This is a ball which shapes into Butler, and he does get the inside half of the bat on it. Goes down to backwards square leg, long leg comes round to field a single. Butler's on 13, 199 for 5. We're going to have... Well, it's going to be another over before we have a changeover. Let's see if... Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Where's Hendo, we should call it. We should have somebody draw a picture of him with a little red stripy hat on, and see if we can find Hendo.
And hide him in a photo collage of 300 guerrilla cricket commentators.
We've probably had that many over the years, and they're all related to Ditch. As Marsh bowls, and this is caught at second slip. Curran slashed at that outside the off stump. It was there for the drive. His body was going backwards. He got a top edge. Good catch over his head. I didn't see who caught that.
Smith.
Was it Smith again? He took it cleanly this time.
Flipping muppet.
And
Fuck off! Just fuck off!
Curran's brief cameo has come to a close. He's been out twice, but reprieved once. But he has gone for 15.
Check
Caught
the no
Smith
ball
Marsh.
again.
that would be funny.
Well, Mitchell Marsh has been very much sort of at the line halfway through the foot, as opposed to Pat Cummins, who has been consistently very, very close to the line the entire series. Sam Curran gone for 15 off 13 with 1-4 and 1-6. Full delivery, hanging it outside off Curran. Went for a big booming drive with his head and feet nowhere near the line of the ball.
It went quickly. It was a good catch because they're quite hard to take over your head.
Yeah, and Smith has already dropped one, a much harder chance than that one, and then also
bobbled.
Well, yeah, bobbled 4 times. Probably a much simpler chance than that one.
Well, some people suggested that England's struggles in this series had been almost entirely with the bat, and replacing a batsman in this test with a bowler may not have been the most logical suggestion.
Well, although I wanted this to be level, and I think it's important that England try and level the series, if we lose 3-1, I guess Australia would have deserved it. They are the better side.
Well, that's true, but I'm wondering why they decided to weaken the batting in this game.
Well, I mean, they've...
Although Roy hasn't been...
I think they wanted the extra bowler as well, didn't they?
Stokes can't bowl in this test.
Well, yeah, but he was the 5th bowler.
Well, they've in fact replaced him with 2 bowlers.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
It is indeed. Anyway, next bowler in.
Next batsman.
Well, yeah, he's batting in this instance. It's this one.
Chris walking on sunshine. Whoa, he recently took 9.
Defends his first ball. And it's Butler.
And we've had a change of bowling.
And don't you feel good?
Yeah.
And don't you feel good?
This is a jingle for Josh Hazelwood. This is a jingle for Josh Hazelwood.
I asked a very great statistician yesterday whether Broad at number 11 was the man with the highest test score to be down at number 11 to bat in a test match, as this is a full ball and driven into the ground and then into the hands of cover by Butler. Of course, he's got a, what was that, 167?
169 against
169
Pakistan.
not out against Pakistan at Lords in, what year was it, 2010?
Yes.
And he's officially England's number 11. Has anyone with a higher score ever been the number 11 batsman in a test match? It's a bit difficult to work out because various people have
retired,
not been fit and have come in at 11 and things like that.
Donald Bradman once reversed the order in a test match.
So it's a little bit artificial, but this great Stato didn't think so. As Hazelwood bowls and Butler leaves.
I think I want a more definitive answer than I don't think so.
Well, yes.
I know it's
I was
difficult.
asking him in a social context rather than sitting there with his books and his computers.
There should be a change at the end of this over.
They should have been probably at the end of last over.
They should have been, but hey.
It's been very ad hoc. There's a bit of an end of season feeling about the Guerrilla Cricket crew today.
Mayank asks, when is England's next series after this? England are next in New Zealand, which starts on the 1st of November with the T20, well, 5 T20s, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 8th and 9th, and 10th rather of November, then 2 tests, the 21st, the 25th of November.
5 T20s. Good ball from Hazelwood, is defended by Butler. 5 T20s.
The first test is the 21st, the 25th of the Oval at Mount Maunganui, that ground's first ever test match, and 29th November to the 3rd of December at Hamilton.
Yeah. They're both, I believe, in the far north of New Zealand. The weather should be a little bit better.
Yeah, Mount Maunganui is on the northeastern side on the Bay of Plenty. Lovely looking ground.
This will start at 10 o'clock at night.
And the other side,
T20s are starting.
The Bay of quite a lot.
Have they got that right? The T20s are starting at fucking 1 in the morning here, which means they're daytime T20s over there.
Well, would you prefer day-night starting at 4 or something? Anyway, short ball outside the off-stump, Butler leaves.
Well, no, a T20 would be a night-time match. It would start at 7 o'clock in the evening, which would be...
We'd rather it started 10 in the morning their time, which is sort of 10 in the evening our time would be great, wouldn't it?
I have the T20s here. The first 3 start at 2 p.m. New Zealand time, and then one at 6 p.m. New Zealand time, and then back to 2 p.m.
It's
New Zealand
probably
time.
weekends or weekdays, depending on...
maybe the
week.
weekends I can make sense of it, but if they're on the weekdays, why would they start at 2 p.m? That seems mad.
Well, if anyone's listening from the New Zealand Cricket Board, please do let us know. We're going to have a change after this ball. Andy Ward's come in, and has he dragged anyone else with him? We'll soon find out. As full driven sweetly by Butler.
Nice.
He can time an off drive, can't he? It's gone through the covers. It's 4 runs. Amazing how often that happens at the end of a session.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/guerrillacricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Guerrilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight, dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/guerrillacricket.
Pat Cummins bowled for just over an hour before being replaced by Josh Hazelwood from the pavilion. But Mitchell Marsh is going to continue 3 for 31 his figures, and he has bowled well, probably not quite as well as 3 for 31 in 13 overs suggests, but he's done the job that was asked of him. He's bowling to Chris Wokes. He'll be facing up to his first ball. England 203 for 6 and in danger of wasting a pretty good start. Marsh is in, and Wokes defends his first ball from the crease, nudges it out to mid-on. There is no run. Marsh has got the ball going into the right-hander now. The ball that got Johnny Bairstow was the first one he's got to go in, and it did go in very sharply. Wokes is on naught now. Josh Butler 17 not out. England, as I say, 203 for 6 haven't been put into bat. You're listening to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of the 2019 Men's Ashes. You join us an hour into the third and final session of day 1 of the 5th Test. Australia leading the series 2-1. I'm Nakalam Pandey, taking you through the next half an hour in ball by ball. I'm joined we'll come to who I'm joined by after this delivery, which is full outside off stump, and Chris Wokes is off the mark with a lovely cover drive. But they put a man back on the deep point boundary, who is Nathan Lyon, and so it'll only be 2. Yeah, I'm joined to my left by Andy Ward, reading your tweets and your Facebook Live and YouTube comments.
Indeed. Did you do this Brett Lee tweet?
No, I did not.
Okay, Roger Melly, if Brett Lee's speeds were turned down, don't know why they would be, were you talking about that?
Well, there was some... Michael Vaughan has claimed / boasted that the host broadcaster were tampering with the speed gun during the 2005 Ashes to make England's bowlers look quicker and Australia's slower.
Okay.
That sounds like bollocks.
It does sound like bollocks, but he said if so, it'd be useful to know by how much. There could be speed records at stake.
By a Vaughan, which is an arbitrary unit depending how much you want it to be.
Shortish delivery down the leg side. Wokes has a little fiddle at it down the leg side, but misses, and it goes through to Payne. There is no run. Given that Brett Lee was clocked at 97 miles an hour almost at one point during the 2005 test, it seems hard to believe that the speed gun was turned down.
Linux Lear says, of course 5 T20s. How else could England lose 7-0?
Well, quite.
And Chris Lequire is at Essex. I think Chris is coming in the next couple of days, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. I saw that name on the road. It'll be nice to see you again, Chris.
Essex 272 for 6, chasing a follow-on target of 368.
Back of a length from Mitchell Marsh. A little bit of nibble off the seam, but Wokes defends it solidly into the offside. There is no. And the other voice you heard was that of Ed Benson, who'll be playing your jingles.
Mitchell Marsh has 3 wickets. That is all.
Devin Wade, good morning everybody, wherever you are. Loved the latest Gorilla Shear pod. I won't say thank you because it's nothing to do with me, but I'm sure Knackle will thank you for that.
Well, I mean, that was the Gorilla Show. It was Tony Bishop. It was Tony Bishop joined by Nick Martin and Jason G. Hiscox. We are recording the regular podcast tonight as Mitchell Marsh is in 5th ball of the over. It's a very full delivery, a little bit of swing, and Erasmus has given that. I think that one swung away a little bit at the last second, and Chris Wokes absolutely trapped. I have to say this looks pretty good, and Joss Butler agrees. He's told Chris Wokes not to bother reviewing. Mitchell Marsh, for only the second time in Test cricket, has 4 wickets in an innings, and Australia 205, England rather, 205 for 7.
Yeah, that's dead. Smashing middling leg.
Yeah, another good full delivery from Mitchell Marsh. While we all think he's underwhelmed at times during his Test career, he has bowled well at times today, and certainly has
whelming today.
Exploited the conditions and the swing that he's been able to generate bowling, getting both Johnny Bairstow and Chris Wokes trapped in very full deliveries. Wokes gone for 2 off 5, and England, as I say, 205 for 7, having been 170 for 3.
Yeah, Chris Wokes has had a difficult series with the ball, and he's not managed to make up with it with the bat as he maybe has done in previous series. He's just not got going at all. Mayank says, noticing the next few series include more T20s than ODIs.
Yes, ahead of the T20 World Cup, which is the next.
That would make sense.
Which is the next major white ball tournament.
That's the reason why it is, I think, Mayank. I don't think the ODI format's being phased out just yet. E.S. Blofeld Esquire, not good enough from Root, effectively out 4 times in that innings. Decent ball, but didn't do much, and Root played down the wrong line.
Well, he played down the original line, and then it moved.
That was a really good ball.
Yeah, and I wasn't too impressed with Sam Curran, 6 notwithstanding. I think he's been riding his luck as a Test batsman. His luck ran out in that one.
Out at number 9 is the man who has been the superstar, the new find for England this summer, a 3-year overnight sensation.
And now it's time for Jofra Archer.
We've just seen the Hawkeye for that wicket, as plumb as it gets.
Another full delivery from Mitchell Marsh, which does swing away late. Archer drops the bat on it and blocks back to Mitchell Marsh. There is no run. End of another good over from Mitch Marsh. 4 for 33 for Mitchell Marsh. And us England, having been put into bat, are 205 for 7.
Now, I'm not sure who, we might have to guess, but Grits and Grats says it was the guy in the middle chair, presumably in the previous session, an experiment where his fathers were Danny DeVito, Danny Baker and David Guest.
Yeah, I did read that. We did read that one. Yes, not Fred.
Okay, sorry.
Having his appearance pulled apart.
And Lawrence Jameson says Mitch Marsh living up to his nickname Bison. Bison's being well known for taking 4 wickets in a Test match.
Yes, those hooves very useful for swinging the ball late. Hazelwood is going to continue from the pavilion end. 1 for 33 in his 14 overs.
Yeah, PS Media awful batting again. Andy Durant sends us a gif of someone with their head in their hands.
This has been a depressing day.
2 slips on the gully, short extra cover, mid on to, and back on the hook for Hazelwood to Joss Butler. A short ball which Butler ducks into. Wanted to hook, wanted to duck, wanted to sway, did none of the above and was thumped in the grill. There's going to
Yes, I think the doctor should come on for that one. Short ball he just didn't deal with.
Oh, it didn't actually quite hit him in the grill. It bounced off his arm, then up into his throat, which could actually be more painful given the protection he's got
He
on
played
the front
that
of his head.
He played that quite badly. He took his eyes off the ball while ducking and ducked straight into it, basically.
Swayed one way and then swayed the other,
Yeah.
straight back into it.
He got a
Gus
bit-
Somerville, I know the English batting has been poor this Ashes. Getting skittled by Marsh is just embarrassing.
Agreed.
Hazelwood in, shortish outside off stump, left alone by
Surprised there
Butler
wasn't
through
a
to the
longer
keeper.
break
There is
for
no
that.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't hitting the helmet, I guess, so they don't have to change the helmet and
I
decide.
think the initial hit on the chest took a bit of the fizz out of it when it went up.
Yeah, maybe. I would prefer them to err on the side of caution with concussion substitutions, but well, not substitutions, rather assessments. I also think, incidentally, that as I've said a number of times, on both on air and on the podcast, that the decision should be made by independent doctors, but that's another consideration.
Oh, yeah, totally agree.
Hazelwood comes in right arm over the wicket to Joss Butler. It's full and driven by Butler. Opens the face a little bit and skewed it a little bit square, but well into the gap. There is another fielder. It's a man out at deep point, and Nathan Lyon comes hurtling round, diving and to his left to keep Joss Butler to 2.
The Jersey Jingler's looking on the bright side. He says, if Mitch Marsh has a four-for, imagine what Stuart Broad will be able to do. That's a spirit.
Well, he'll get Warner and Harris, obviously. The test is what comes after.
The axis of Steve Smith and Marnus Labuschagne.
The axis of awesome.
The axis of evil.
They haven't. Neither of them have scored below 50 yet in the series.
What are you looking for?
Hazelwood comes in and bowls the right arm over the wicket. Short, and Butler tries to pull this one but misses it completely. Passes slightly under the bat, I think. Ball maybe isn't quite coming on or getting up as much as England batsmen are expecting. We saw that a little bit with Ben Stokes' dismissal and a couple of times from Butler in this innings.
Now, I don't think we're going to see Steve Smith bat today. It's a possibility, but I would say it was on the unlikely side. And this is probably the last time I'm going to be in, so I just want to talk about his technique a little bit, in that I wonder if coaches are going to start taking elements from that and integrate it into their coaching. I'll come on in a second.
As Hazelwood's in, 5th ball of the over, full outside off stump. Butler tries to drive but doesn't get any power or timing into the shot, and it goes up to mid-off. There is no run.
So a coach I've worked with, who's an Australian, who sends out a kind of round-robin email every week. He says he started talking to his batsmen about batting on off stump, with the theory that if you are very good off your pads and your weakness is 4th or 5th stump, then that's going to be an advantageous thing to do. You can anything on the stumps, you can play into the leg side. You're in a better position to leave the ball outside off stump, or you're closer to those balls in that channel.
Yeah, and Steve Smith, not the only successful batsman who's done that and adopted that in recent times. This is back of a length from Butler.
Indeed.
And he blocks it up to Mitchell Marsh at mid-on. There is no run. He's on 19, Archer on none. England 2 are 7 for 7. Virat Kohli and Hashim Amla are both made that sort of predominant parts of their game.
And most famously, although Andy will have to tell me if this is right or wrong, didn't Viv Richards used to do the same thing, plant his front foot outside the line of the off stump?
Well, that's not really we're not talking about planting the front foot, it's setting up.
Starting.
Batting.
Well, I mean, Smith sets up on leg and then moves back and across to off stump, and Kohli does a little something similar but not with quite as pronounced a movement.
I mean, I personally, honestly, don't think it's necessary to have any trigger movements at all, short of professional cricket, because people just aren't bowling fast enough to make you do that. And you'll notice with any trigger movement, of course, when the ball's released, the person is still. If you start doing trigger movements at club level, it's unnecessary and you'll just be moving around too much. So I don't think people will be coaching anyone to sort of jump around like Steve Smith, but to start over one stump, it has some advantages, especially if the ball's moving around.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing being that your head is over off stump, so as you say, you can judge whether to leave the ball or play the ball. Obviously, you have to... Most batsmen are going to be out a lot more LBW a lot more times than Steve Smith is, in percentage terms.
Yeah, I mean, the leave is a very underused shot in club cricket. We all like to get some bat on ball.
So that's the element that you think is going to maybe incorporated by coaches?
That's one element, certainly. I can certainly see the logic of it. But at some point you have to look at it and say, look, this guy's averaging 65. Only him and Bradman have that average with over 5,000 runs, something like that. Maybe there's something in what he's doing that is transferable.
Yeah, and in terms of a technique, his technique enables his head to be still at the point of delivery, and it enables his head to be almost always over the top of the ball, in line with the ball, and his bat to come through straight and to meet the ball under his eyes, which is, you can't really go too far wrong from that.
No, I think we're having some drinks. So Daft Penguin says, a batter's delight for a pitch and we're still ballsing it up. Might get 300 if we're lucky. Very lucky, I think. But the Aussies should tank that. Smith will probably make half that alone. Well, on form, he'd be on for that.
Yes, reversion to the mean doesn't seem to mean anything with Stephen Smith.
Not just yet, no.
Well, if his mean is 65.
Well, sure.
I said earlier in the season I'd actually backed Steve Smith to go under, because his line was ridiculously high. But as I said afterwards, it's one of those, but it's value, but you're still going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, England today, the pitch has not really offered anything after the first hour. We've seen some swing, but not a huge amount. England have just dug themselves into a hole again.
Yeah, they got a bit stuck after tea.
What were they, 140 for 2, something like that?
Yeah.
Well, they scored 7 runs off the first 6 overs after tea, and as they tried to sort of break out of that, they've just lost wickets in a cluster. And Mitch Marsh has been, like a sort of English seamer, pitching it up and swinging the ball, and it's got a few wickets.
It's been very Graham Onionsy from Mitchell Marsh.
Not quite as quick.
Comparing more to Shane Watson once again.
Yeah, maybe Shane Watson.
Well, I was saying that earlier. Watson didn't swing the ball as much as Marsh has, but that ability to be very economical, to take pressure off the other seam bowlers.
Which is annoying because he is shit, so I mean...
Well, he's bowled 14 overs and Lions only bowled 4. We can see England were 130 when they lost the 3rd wicket, and up to 170 for 3 when that 4th wicket fell, and they've lost 4 wickets for 35.
They were 169 for 3 at tea.
Yeah.
Christ.
And Marsh has bowled unchanged through this session, a lengthy spell. But
who do you think you are, Ben Stokes?
Oh, sure. He has said that Ben Stokes is inspiration for him in terms of fitness. Archer facing up to his second ball, and he blocks it with no real foot movement, but decent hands into the backward point region. There is no run. Geoffrey Archer has not shown yet in Test cricket, or really international cricket full stop, the undoubted talent that he has with the bat, or why he averages 30 in first-class cricket.
Well,
today may be the day,
he
indeed.
doesn't get so many 90-mile-an-hour balls above the waist
yeah.
in county cricket.
That's certainly true, but even with the balls pitched up and not so devilish, he's occasionally looked he's essentially struggled a little bit. That one's full, gently swinging away outside off stump at 79 miles an hour. Archer pushes it to backward point. There is no run.
Actually, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a right-arm Sam Curran.
There's more energy at the crease with Sam Curran. There's a bit more...
Yeah, a bit wasted.
He does swing the ball more, I think, than Mitch Marsh. Oh, Marsh has been swinging the ball considerably today. I don't know if sometimes a bowler's run-up makes him look quicker than he is. This is full outside off stump, and Archer, with no foot movement really at all, tries to sort of handily drive this through the covers, but his feet were absolutely stuck in concrete, and it kept a little bit low, and so Archer just ends up sort of bottom-halfing it into the pitch in front of him, and there is no run. Not a convincing-looking stroke.
If you think you could do better than us, and let's face it, who wouldn't, there will be opportunities over the winter. We're doing some nighttime tests, and we're always glad to have new recruits. Just check the website.
And some nighttime T20s as well. This is angling down leg stump and leg side rather, and Archer tries to turn it away fine, thumps into his thigh pad and dribbles out to square leg. There is no run. Yeah, drop us a line at guerillacricket@gmail.com.
Yep, and welcome to come and have a go, if you think you're hard enough.
Yeah, you should see the other guys.
207. Sorry, Ed, go on.
No.
207 for 7 for England, and honestly, it's not an aberration. They just haven't batted well in this series.
Marsh in, down the leg side. Archer again misses out on a potential 4 runs down to the fine leg boundary, and is I say beaten by it. He missed it as he tried to turn it down leg.
There's a difference between being beaten and missing one.
And
it's a subjective difference.
And it's taken down the leg side by Tim Payne. There is no run. We've seen on a number of occasions that players trying to turn the ball down leg and not making contact. Jack Leach is padded up.
Well, he was coming in ahead of Broad in the previous test.
He did in the previous innings of the previous test. He batted at 11.
Well,
in
he
the
should be
first
they should both be padded up anyway. It doesn't mean he's next.
That's a fair point. We've not yet seen whether Stuart Broad is also padded up. Archer facing up to Mitchell Marsh, yet to get off the mark. He has now. This is a full toss which swings kind of onto the middle of Archer's bat. He puts the bat there rather than really hitting the ball and takes a single into the covers. He'll keep the strike. He's on 1. Butler's on 19. England 208 for 7. Might be wise maybe for Butler to take a lot of the strike from here and sort of take charge of the tail.
Roger Merry, Smith's technique is based wholly on his eye. He hits the ball to leg off his stumps and never misses. Normal people miss occasionally.
I agree with the second part of that. Even those who aren't that normal, like, say, Hashim Amla or Virat Kohli, miss the ball more often than Steve Smith does. But I don't think it's fair to say that Smith's technique is wholly based on his eye.
Yeah, I would agree. I think when you actually break it down, he does eventually get his head into good positions, and that's so.
And the rest follows. And it's based on getting his head into a good position and doing whatever he can, whatever he needs to do to get the middle of the bat onto the ball and hit it where the fielders are not. Again, a fairly simple principle, but very difficult to execute, obviously. Hazelwood is continuing. Short ball. Archer takes it on and pulls it well in front of square. A short arm jab, which he gets onto very quickly, and Archer picks up 4.
Now, one thing with Mitchell Marsh getting these overs in, it does give a bit of a respite to Hazelwood and Cummins.
Yeah.
I mean, Cummins might be able to rest all the way through to the next new ball in 12 overs.
He could do. Haven't seen Peter Siddle since before tea.
And again, with Nathan Lyon not looking super threatening, it means they don't have to bowl him. And look, if you can get in with 5 bowlers, it always really helps.
No, of course.
Hazelwood in 1 for 39 after 15.1 overs. That's an absolute beauty to follow up a somewhat friendly short delivery. A little bit quicker, a tiny bit fuller. Jags in sharply off the seam and beats Jofra Archer comprehensively on the inside edge, over the top and middle and off stump. Through to Tim Payne, there is no run.
Now, I was just about to... Poor Jaffers. I was about to mention this as well. Roger Melly says Joffrey's wearing his... I'm going in both of them. Joffre is wearing his watch. I hope it's not worth anything. Not just that, to make a bit of a mess of your wrist.
I think that is the watch that he won for being man of the match in the World Cup final.
Well, I wouldn't wear it when I was batting.
Well, me neither. Short outside off stump and a little bit of movement away from Josh Hazelwood off the seam, and Archer squared up by this and drops his hands on it, and it runs away off the thick outside part of the bat into the covers. There is no run.
Well, if you think about playing a shot like that one, he's almost presenting his watch to the ball if it gets more bounce than he was expecting.
I was once told to do that. I was practicing just before a school game with my watch on. I hadn't taken it off yet, and my coach told me, point the watch face more towards extra cover rather than I think it was actually rather than mid off. In fact, bring it round a little bit. So using that as a reference. I still wouldn't bat with it in a game. Short ball up into the armpit of Archer. He plays it well enough, and it gets it to ground before Matthew Wade can snaffle it at short leg.
Watch high delivery there.
Yes, indeed. But
oh no, a little bit higher.
Reasonably well played by Archer.
Aidan says Smith's technique is still based on being still when facing and keeping his eye on the ball.
Correct.
In club cricket, the old-timer panel umpires would trigger the hell out of you for walking across, whether it hit your pad or not.
Difficult when he middles it through mid-wicket for 4.
Yeah,
you'd think.
I sort of find
I know what you mean, though.
I sort of find the unpicking of Smith's technique or the difficulties of it is curious, because ultimately he averages 65.
Short ball down the leg side, and Archer did get something on that as a flying dive from Tim Payne, probably off the glove, probably not off the watch, but off the glove, and Archer picks up 4 this time, slightly luckily.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Yeah, I find the unpicking of the technique curious in that, that's something that happens normally when someone has a technical flaw, i.e. they're getting out to it or they're at risk of, not having a sustained career. Well, it obviously works for him.
I think it's the other way, is that because it looks so unusual,
And yet it's working so well.
people are trying to work out why. But, you know, we talked about it, the fundamental principles of his technique and the fundamental aims. This is a full delivery from Hazel to follow up that one. It's nicely played by Archer, just opening the face, playing with the swing, as it were, into the offside. Fielded at cover, there is no run. Archer's on 9, Butler's on 19, still started to strike. England 2-16 for 7. I say still started to strike, Butler will be on strike for the next over. But, you know, the fundamentals that we've talked about, you know, having your head in line, having your head still at the point of release, are exactly what you're trying to achieve with batting.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is there's so much being picked about it in the media and probably within the England team that we see England sort of bowling some weird plans to Stephen Smith good because of his technique, whereas they should be focusing on how you get all really good players out, really, which is you bowl in the channel lights out off the off stump and you try and essentially bowl as many balls in that area as you absolutely can. But there's a new bowler, and that's someone who does exactly that, this man.
Yeah, Mitchell Marsh finally relieved of duty after a very long spell.
Well, I don't know quite what I should do. I'm at the Aussie team barbecue. I found myself something to eat, but I don't think it contains any meat. Bangers to the left of me, burgers to the right, but I'm eating Peter Siddle's tofu.
In comes Siddle, charging in with that trademark grimace of his. This is back of a length, and Butler, trying to force this through the covers, doesn't time it. It comes off the inside part of the bat to mid-on. There is no run. Siddle hasn't been his usual economical, controlled self, none for 57 or 15.1.
The question is, though, Ed, when Smith takes up a position when his pads are outside off stump, are you bowling the channel relative to his pads or relative to the stumps?
I think you have to move the channel, don't you?
So you bowl 6th stump?
Yeah, because if you bowl on his pads, he fucking murders you. I mean, like,
well, that's the thing. And now he's now taken bowled and LBW completely out of the equation.
He has.
Outside off stump from Peter Siddle, left alone by Joss Butler. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run. There's Nick Miller, I think, from who's the website editor of the Totally Football Show, formerly The Guardian, said that England bowlers bowling on the pads and being annoyed when they're worked away through the leg side is like Wile E. Coyote consistently running into a painted tunnel on a wall.
Yeah. No, I mean, he doesn't get out LBW. Like, you know, he just doesn't. So why...
He does very occasionally.
Well, yeah, but why is that? You know, why do you worry then about taking that out of the equation when he basically does that himself?
Siddle, in back of a length, Archer wanted the single as Butler drops it into the leg side, but sent back by Butler. To mid-wicket it goes, there is no run.
Well, the question almost becomes, why doesn't everybody else bat like that? And maybe at some point they will. But
Perhaps,
I guess it's because they don't have the confidence to play those straight balls.
It's very difficult, you know.
Well, Smith is famous for facing thousands and thousands of balls in practice.
Yeah, he is. But I think it's what he does, the consistently not missing straight balls is really hard. As this is outside off stump and Butler forces this off the back foot. Good diving stop from the man at shortest recover. Probably saved 3 there, Matthew Wade. It's parried. In fact, Cameron Bancroft is on the field for somebody. Yeah, it was Matthew Wade at cover who sort of parried it to mid-off. They will come through for a single. Not quite sure who Cameron Bancroft is on for. But he's fielding there at mid-on. Possibly Pat Cummins?
Yeah, I haven't seen Cummins for a little bit. What's happening, Hendo? We're going to have a change. Okay.
We'll have a change in 2 balls' time. Ed is going to stay. Nestle Boy is going to come in, and for the first time in eons, Nigel Hendo Henderson is coming in as Siddle in, left alone by Jofra Archer in a pale imitation of Stephen Smith. Through to the keeper, there is no run.
No, he didn't completely turn his back on us and point his bat down to.
No, but there was a bit of a wipe from top left to bottom right as you're looking at it.
I wasn't Jofra Archer imitating Steve Smith in the nets.
He was.
Yeah.
A lot of them have done that. Glenn Maxwell did it while providing motion capture footage for a video
I
game.
remember that one. It's quite funny. Paul Howarth, Grubby has given us George DeBell's stat about Burns scoring more in this series than Cook ever did in home matches.
We had that one before lunch. It was very interesting. This one comes in sharply from Peter Siddle. Archer was looking to boom that through the covers, but he adjusts at the last second and blocks it from in front of middle and off stump into the leg side. There is no run. Jofra Archer is on 9. Joss Butler is on 20. England, having looked quite comfortable at tea, are 217 for 7.
The best things in life are free. Just like guerrilla commentary, we need money. To Patreon, that's what I want. .com/guerrilla cricket. We need money. Patreon.com/guerrilla cricket. I don't like the BBC. I prefer guerrilla commentary. I want money. $20 for the archive. That's what I want.
Edged by Butler, and he'll get 4 runs for that. A very welcome 4 runs as far as England are concerned. The nearer they can get to 250. 250, I think around about 170 for 3 or 4, I was saying. We might not get 300. Well, we do well to get 250 here.
2 + 2 is a number.
And every time Joss Butler finds himself batting, he finds himself batting in a way that is not akin to his natural instincts.
Yeah, I saw Annie Jave talking about this on Twitter, but the problem is, what do? Do you
Well, no,
put him up to 4? I mean,
it's
like,
very difficult. Yeah, I mean, you might end up saying that about whoever. I mean, if you dropped Bairstow down, Stokes, you wouldn't drop Stokes down, but if you did. Hazelwood in again. Oh, he's got an edge to this one. That, I think, has been dropped by David Warner. It'll bring him 4 more through the slips. It doesn't really matter how they come, but as long as they come.
That wasn't easy.
Well,
Flew through at quite a rate.
let's have a look at this. It's just short of him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just short of him, I think. Yep, so fair enough. Although if he'd been looking to dive forward, maybe he might have got there, but he sort of rather turns side onto it.
In real time, a lot different.
Indeed. Yeah. So a couple of rather fortuitous boundaries for Butler takes him to 28, 225 for 7. Well, before those 2 boundaries, England had lost 4 for 48 in this session. In comes Hazelwood again. And he drops this down square on the offside. They run through for a quick single. And England move to 226 for 7. Any tweets, Nesta?
Well, this is an interesting one that's been sent to us by Mojo via Kit Harris.
Oh, yes.
We are on the verge of a world record here in the county championship.
Oh.
Leicestershire versus Northamptonshire.
Right.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 currently LBWs.
Wow. Out of 8 or 9?
Yeah,
How many
but
wickets down?
2 guys are still batting.
But is it like the last wicket in? So is that 8
Yeah.
out of 9? He's edged it and he's caught. Eventually Hazelwood gets his reward for probing away outside that off stump. It isn't the man that he was thinking he was going to get, but it is Jofra Archer, who really didn't look up to the battle. He's gone for 9. England absolutely subsiding to 226 for 8.
Go OUT the window, go OUT the window, go OUT the window, 'cause OUT spells out.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, last man in on that, by the way.
You do wonder where England go from here, don't you?
New Zealand.
well, home for a bit.
Yeah, but I mean, what do they go to New Zealand with? It's asking a lot of people to follow you to New Zealand to watch this kind of batting.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, you go to New Zealand and you go for a 4 or 5 day test match, or expecting at least 4 days, say, and you could easily, with the kind of conditions you get out there,
Nice
the way that
holiday.
England play outside
with
the off
Trent
stump,
Bolt.
with Trent Bolt and Tim Southey just gently swinging away in the manner of Mitchell Marsh. You can imagine those games being over quite quickly.
Beautiful country though, nice holiday.
Beautiful country. Well, I know it's nice, but I mean,
Expensive
kind of
trip, though.
disappointing when you pay for match tickets and you don't get your money's worth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's the new guy on Ball by Ball, so it's not Fred Titmus?
Very good, very good. How can you actually be tweeting on the way home while driving?
Someone arrest that man.
Yeah, arrest it if you see a man. I don't know what car he's got now.
Yeah,
Mercedes.
he won't tell us. He
Right,
changes his
okay.
license plates all the time.
Well, it's the hero of Headingley. It's the man who's been rather badly treated by Steve Smith and Kevin Peterson in the last week. It's Jack Leach.
Coming up, here's a face that I know. It's Jack Leach. Now coming up is Jack Leach. Oh, Jack Leach.
Hazelwood then into bowl to Jack Leach, and that's down the leg side, a shortish delivery, but he gets inside the line of it and allows it to pass. Now, Kevin Peterson, I'm sorry, but you are a twat. You are an absolute twat.
You're not the first 1,000th person to say that.
The ignorance of a man who thinks.
What are you saying, Hendo? What are you saying?
Think of the people that he's attacked for no good reason. James Taylor for
Favourite player ever.
being small, basically.
Yep.
And now Jack Leach for having specs. I mean, he doesn't like people to be not like him, which is, sort of well built and macho. And
Well, you described it in the green room as like the classic bully, and that's exactly right, isn't it? It's just people who are slightly not jock type, basically.
Exactly. Absolutely. He'd be hazing you, wouldn't he? In a fraternity in America if he was there. This is defended into the onside and fielded by a short leg, and there is no run. That's the end of the over. Another successful one for Hazelwood. England 226 for 8.
Leah says, delighted to know that I won't have to see the greasy troglodyte again today. I don't quite know who.
Oh, well, just
really.
Yes, we'll keep going. Keep going.
That's what it's all about. Butler 29, Leach yet to score. Hazelwood now has figures of 2 for 52 off 17 overs.
Mezzy Jez says, the words that come to mind when looking at this England batting performance and the Australians catching are bloody ordinary.
Well, as I think I saw Derek Pringle tweet a bit earlier, England have managed to get to 226 for 8 despite the fact that Australia have dropped 3 or 4 catches and had a wicket off a no ball. And they've only managed to get to 226 for 8.
Yeah.
Siddle is into the attack. He's coming in. And Butler is advancing down the wicket. He's thinking, I'm not going to hang about here. But he drops it in short enough that he has to adjust and defend into the offside. And there is no run.
Well, it happens. It's sport, isn't it? You go out, things happen sometimes they don't. Catchy stick. Sometimes
yeah, no, but I think.
I thought you were talking about the England batting, and I was like, "Wow, that's a very generous approach to."
Well, I've watched it all summer, and
that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's not been a. It's not.
This has been the only poor Australian fielding performance of the series so far.
Yeah, really. No, my point about that is it just shows you how badly England have batted.
Yeah, No, absolutely.
Siddle in now. He's trying to smash this off the back foot. He's shanked it somewhat into the ground without any great timing, probably off the toe end. And he runs through for a single, exposing Leach to Siddle, who's yet to take a wicket, none for 59. But he's got a chance now with 2 wickets only remaining, down to number 10 and 11.
He's going to have a lash now, isn't he?
Well,
which I quite like.
Well, everyone's calling for Butler to bat with freedom, right? And so this is the position from which he can bat with freedom.
Well, you can and you can't, because when you get down to this position, as soon as he starts to play a couple of shots, then everyone will disappear to the edge.
Right.
And it'll be, let him have a single, let's have a go at Leach.
Yeah.
And for some reason, other teams seem better at doing that than we do. It's not always a successful tactic even for other teams. 3 slips in the gully, backward point, mid-off. And Leach is well into line as Siddle reverts around the wicket to the left-hander. And he pushes the ball up to mid-on where Cummins fields.
Yeah, Rob Sutton confirms the mighty Leicestershire were 189 all out with 8 LBWs.
Wow. And is that a record? That is a record,
I don't know. Does that break the record you were after?
Rob, was it a dog of a pitch? I'd like to know. It sounds like it.
Sounds like the ball was coming back into the bat quite a bit.
Yeah, the Mitchell Marsh.
The Mitchell Marsh.
Maybe during the tea break he went up and bowled a few overs.
Siddle. He gets that one to swing into Leach, but Leach is beautifully balanced. And I honestly think that you need to get into the nets with Jack Leach, some of the England top order batsmen, because his defensive technique is so much better than people we have up the order.
Than Jason Roy. I mean, yeah.
Toby Amadeo says Peterson is England cricket's version of Biff Tannen in Back to the Future.
I don't remember the character, to be honest.
No. I think he's basically England cricket's version of Shane Warne, isn't he? Basically.
I don't even think Shane Warne would take the piss out of Jack Leach in that way.
But doesn't he have a feud with Mitchell Starc, Shane Warne?
Does he?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know about that. Siddle back over the wicket. And this one he comes into him, hits him on the thigh pad, and just drops a couple of feet in front of him.
Well, Testy Test, Hendo, picks you up on your Kevin Peterson hazing thing.
Really?
It says KP is too thick to get into a college and a fraternity. Which, yeah.
Right. Did you get any of that in Toronto when you were out there?
What, hazing?
Bit of hazing?
I met some people who were in a frat. They do even exist in Canada as well.
I thought they might.
I can imagine there'd be more polite frats.
Yeah. Well, I would say that having met some of them, I don't think they'd be taking the piss for physical attributes. Anyway.
Now that's really nicely worked by Jack Leach. Square and he's going to come back for a second, a very easy second. And so he's off the mark. England moved to 229 for 8.
You do hear about some mad stuff though, like people being bundled into vans and then driven out into, you know, remote locations. And you know, in Canada, the problem is if you do that in the winter, you can die. Yeah, like, you know, if you do it in Virginia or I don't know, you know, Texas, people aren't going to actually die if you forget them. But,
yeah, I went to a wedding in Toronto in December.
Oh my god!
And I said, oh yeah, I'll be over there for a week. I might take some time off and go up north for a bit. And the wife, who's Canadian, looked at me and went, why? Do you want to kill yourself?
Yeah.
And I went, why? What do you mean? She goes, surely it'd be minus 45 or something up there.
Ooh, yeah.
You know.
We had set snow in Toronto in March, and they had it in Ottawa, which is further north, in April. So yeah.
Hazelwood and Butler goes after this. He leans back and smashes this down the ground all the way to the boundary, over the boundary, in fact, and he's picked up a 6.
Yep,
Second 6 of the innings. Sam Curran hit one earlier off Cummins.
He's having a lash, isn't he?
Yeah, that is a proper one-day shot from Joss Butler. Just completely opens the stance and smokes it down the ground.
Yeah, well, let's see now how they respond with regards to field placings. I mean, that probably would have cleared anyone at long off.
Yeah, I don't think he quite middled it though, Henry.
No, I don't think he did actually. Let's see if we can see if there's been any changes to the field. In comes Hazelwood, and he goes again. He smashed that. I think he's got that even more.
Yep.
It's gone further into the crowd at the pavilion end. This is what they come to see. Butler moves to 42 with consecutive 6s, 241 for 8.
The number of the day really hops and kicks. The number of the day is 666.
I have to say that I don't think the next ball will be in his half.
Yeah. Well, you might think. I don't think they have changed the field, Hendo, because I think they think from Ben Stokes' batting with Jack Leach, perhaps the thing is to force the person to play the shot because they'll clear the long-on fieldsman anyway. But I wonder if it'll go back now.
Well, I think he'll drop the next one shorter, that's for sure. And if he tries to play a similar shot, he'll probably just top edge it and get caught. 2 slips remaining. I can't see what the rest of the field is because we haven't panned back far enough. But Hazelwood is in. Expect this to be shorter. And he goes across and he tries to play a little dinky paddle and gets it horribly wrong. He now thinks he's playing back in the World Cup final. And he's rather lucky not to turn that onto his own wicket. He went outside off stump, tried to flick it on its way. But, well, he actually missed it and was hit on the pad. That's what happened. We'll see from the replay.
But it's amazing, Nestler, that your sort of body's approach to temperature can change and you just become so relative. So one of my boss who worked in Toronto, which is quite cold, you know, it's like minus 20, whatever. But he said he flew up to the Northern Territory, so where you were thinking of going.
As Hazelwood comes in again, he goes across and he smears this away down to long leg. A lot of thick inside edge involved there. Siddle does the fielding. He takes 1. He goes to 43.
And he said he flew up there and he got off the plane. It was, you know, between minus 50. And, you know, he was like rushing to his car, you know, absolutely freezing. And he saw some Inuit kids on the back of like snow plows with their jackets open, just driving through.
Oh.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I saw a program the other night about Montreal and the big storm. I don't know when it was, a year or 2 ago. And frightening, 6 days of snow. And the ice, I mean, the ice was just forming on the electricity pylons, pulling down the pylons.
Oh my god,
that was unbelievable. Yeah,
I did sort of when my first day there. It was very cold in Toronto, and the shopping centre's underground.
The path, yeah.
And I thought, I get this now.
Hazelwood into Jack Leach. Can he survive? Yes, he flicks that away really nicely past the man at short leg, and there is a backward square leg, but he's been forced to chase it, Labuschagne, and they've settled for 1. I thought they might have got back for a second there, but Labuschagne is a good fielder, and they didn't trust taking him on, or taking his arm on anyway. 243 for 8, Leach goes to 3, Butler is on 43, 1 ball remaining in this over. Now, what does Butler do? Does he need to aim another big hit here, or does he just try and get a single?
I mean, I'd try and get a single, I think.
Let's have a look what the field is. We've got just the 1 slip now. We've got a short extra, backward point, square leg, mid-wicket, mid-on, all on the 1, mid-off, and extra, all on the 1. which is interesting. So he might actually try to go over the top here. Let's see. He's in again. It's short, and well, he was trying to make room for himself, but it rather followed him. And in the end, it was a rather ungainly cross-batted shot towards mid-wicket that he ended up performing. That is the end of the over. Hazelwood has 2 for 66. England 243 for 8.
Yeah, Rob Sutton confirms. Not sure we can blame the pitch. Both sides made 300 in the first innings. We are just crap. The wooden spoon heading for the heading for the Grace Road Trophy cabinet once more.
Well, it's good to have a nice collection of wooden spoons.
Yeah.
You never know when you might need them.
Aidan says, not only is Leach's defensive technique impressive, but many cricket nerds like me absolute love his retro M&H, one of the best retro ranges since the brief return of the SS Turbo and Jumbo. He's talking about his bat.
Oh yes, Miller Champion Hall. I had a bat like that many years ago, about 20 years ago actually. Probably more than that now.
There's a lot to like about Jack Leach.
There is.
And I hate to moan like Ian Botham, but we're 17 overs behind. Like, let's say we get 3 in now. They're 14 overs behind. That's over an hour at the rate they're bowling.
So if we go through to half past
Take
6.
the ashes
we
off
will.
them.
We will.
Yeah, but if we go through to half past 6, how many are we going to get through? About 80, 81? Yeah, it's poor, isn't it? It's
8 or
pretty
9
poor.
maybe.
Take the ashes off them. Take him off them.
Yeah. it's the only thing they'll understand.
But the over rate in the post-T session
I
have
know,
been
it's-
11 and a half overs an hour. I mean, that's just not good enough. I mean,
Anyway, change of bowling.
Sorry.
Mitchell Marsh comes back into the attack. 4 for 34, would you believe? Yes, you haven't heard erroneously. He has taken 4 for 34 from 15 overs. He's in to bowl to Leach. It's looking for the in-swinging Yorker, and it does York him, but it doesn't swing back enough to hit the wicket. Now, he might have done a hamstring. It's a shame he couldn't have done this earlier.
should we have his jingle while he struggles?
It's very long, isn't
He's
it?
not Jeff, he's not Mitchell, he's not Rod, he's not Daniel, he's not Jack, he's not James.
I think it was just cramped, actually.
He's not Paul, he's not Adrian, he's not Andrew, he's not CJ, he's not Christian, he's not Dean, he's not Eric, he's not Edward, he's not John, he's not James, he's not Laura, he's not Paul, he's not Reginald, he's not Steve, he's not Wilshire, he's not Amelia, he's not Terry, he's not Brendan.
Is this the 12-inch version?
A 12-inch version.
The
Very,
remix.
very long.
One of them is 1 minute long.
Yeah. Marsh then into Leach.
Oh, no, he has.
Well, no, I still think it may just be cramp, but he's cramped up in his run-up and now has to stop. And Marius Erasmus says, "Can I have the ball, please?"
Another brilliant strategy to slow the over rate down
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I'm going to bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to see Mario Erasmus bowl. Like, that man doesn't look like he's done any exercise since he exited the womb.
Dear.
Yeah, he pulled up. It's hamstrings. Isn't it? Well, I
You
say
think it's
hamstrings,
cramp?
But it's cramp in that area. I mean, it's something similar to who was it who limped off worryingly in one of the tests? Was it Jofra Archer, wasn't it? At one
Yes,
point
yeah, it was
before?
Joffrey, yeah. And he actually bowled again, didn't he?
But they were all laughing about it because it was just cramp as opposed to a hamstring. Well, he's put his hat on, his cap on.
He's baggy green.
And I guess someone's going to finish his over for him. He barely started it, only 1 ball into it.
It'll probably be someone worse, like Pat Cummins or,
Well, these are Mitchell Marsh's best figures in Test match cricket. Would you believe it? He's got a 4 for 61 against the West Indies at Melbourne in 2015. But he's surpassed that today, 4 for 31.
He's off.
And he is just
off.
jogging off with Mitchell Stark in attendance.
Mitchell's coming too, as you know.
Yeah, and Jack Leach will be very pleased to see that because now he's got Patrick Cummins to face instead. He's coming in to bowl his 20th over. He's into Leach, and Leach is beaten by that one outside the off stump. I think that came back between bat and pad, but I may be mistaken. It was a strange looking one.
Grubby Howarth agrees with you over the over rate, Ed.
I mean, yeah, I know you sound like a sort of tired old bag, but I just... There's no need for it. There's no need for it to be this slow. They bowl in county cricket, they manage 18 an hour? They're meant to be doing 14, and they're 3 under that. I mean, that's meant to be the minimum over rate.
Well,
the minimum.
they're meant to do 15, aren't they?
Are
They're
they?
supposed to do 90 overs in a day.
Oh, it's
Cummins in again to Leach, and Leach is onto the back foot and plays that with a beautifully straight bat up to mid-off. And there is no run.
Devin Wade said, I wonder if the Toby Adebayo who tweeted you was the nephew of absolute legend Dotan Adebayo, Oh, Dottin Adebayo from the World Football Phone-In. Probably not, but you never know. Dottin is the guy who's on late night on BBC Radio 5.
Yeah, Up All Night.
Yeah, Up All Night.
With him and Rod Sharp.
Always sounds absolutely knackered.
Yeah. Probably is.
Probably is, yes. Been doing that job for quite a while. And we know the perils of staying up through the night on Guerrilla Cricket.
Will McPherson has said on Twitter.
Cummins hits him on the pad. I thought that was worth a shout, but it's raced down to long leg, and they've come through for a leg bye.
He says, you know the old saying, don't judge a pitch until Steve Smith has outscored England on it.
Leia says, stop moaning about the over rate. In the unlikely case you win this, it's the only thing that places you above Her Majesty's open air prison in the WTC. Don't look at me like that.
Do you understand that?
Could you say it again, Nestus?
Stop moaning about the over rate. In the unlikely case you win this, it's the only thing that places you above Her Majesty's open air prison in the WTC.
Oh, because not Fred was explaining this to me. You get deducted points in the World Test Championship now for slow over rates.
Oh, okay. Cummins in, and well, very short indeed. And Butler wanted to have a hook at that, but it was a half-hearted effort. Really, I don't think he was trying to reach it. More or less left it alone way outside the off stump.
Moraes Erasmus was actually a fast medium all-rounder who played 53 first-class matches, batting average of 29.43, bowling average of 28.18.
What sort of bowler was he?
So at least
fast medium,
some exercise since the womb.
Fair enough. We've all had some.
Peter Lloyd says, slow over rates lose you Test Championship, so we could win the Test, we could end up with more points, and we failed to regain the Ashes.
Hey! Here comes Cummins.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
Into Butler on 43. He bowls short again. He tries to pull and he misses, and mutters some expletives to himself, no doubt, under his breath. And that is the end of the over, because it was 5 balls bowled by Cummins, and of course Mitchell Marsh bowled 1 ball before limping off with cramp. And so the score remains 244 for 8. Cummins 2 for 62. Hazelwood 2 for 66. Siddle none for 61. Lyon none for 12. Sparingly used today. Just the 4 overs. And Mitchell Marsh 15.1 overs, 4 maidens, 4 for 34.
Interesting that tweet from Leia, because the acronym WTC, I had no idea what that meant. At what point do we suddenly start sort of getting into the World Test Championship and it having meaning, and us going, oh, that's a point there.
I'm afraid with it being sort of near the anniversary of a horrendous event, I was thinking, well, Trade Center
9/11.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're 9/12 today, aren't we? Actually,
yep,
so
the day after.
244 for 8. Leach on 4 to face Hazelwood, who is in bowls, and he has a little poke at this outside the off stump, but is beaten by it. So slightly poor shot from a man of the calibre of Jack Leach.
Well, Hazelwood made the mistake in the Headingley match of bowling short a lot at Jack Leach, whereas actually what he should do is what he does to everybody else and just I mean, Jack Leach has a better technique than most of the England batsmen, so
he does.
So you've got to treat him like a proper batsman.
Indeed. As we see yet another close-up of Mick Jagger enjoying the day at Lord's, getting well lubricated.
But who is it news to that Mick Jagger's a lover of cricket?
It's not really news to anyone anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Short onto the back foot, played very well with a straight bat. Oh, he does look beautiful when he gets behind that, does Jack Leach. Shows the maker's name to the bowler.
You know, you manufacture wicketkeepers. Do you think we could manufacture an opener from Jack Leach? Be like, you've got a good basic technique and just face thousands of balls in the nets until New Zealand.
What is it? Is it Malcolm Gladwell who says you need 10,000
hours?
Yeah, 10,000 hours in the nets.
Could one of our listeners work out how many hours there are between tomorrow and the start of the first test in New Zealand? I'm assuming we can put one of them on the plane to maximise the amount of practice time.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Hazelwood turns, strides in. The lights are taking effect, so we may not get through the full day once the natural light is overtaken. This is defended back to him, a full ball, and there is no run.
Whenever I see Mick Jagger, I'm always reminded, I watched a documentary about him making a solo album. Pete Townsend played guitar on one track, and Townsend's going home, and Mick said, do you want a lift? And he said, no, I'll get the train off. He goes, is it all right on there? And he goes, yeah. And then Mick Jagger goes, yeah, I know. Like on the tube now, they have like first-class carriages, don't they, with just like 6 seats. And Townsend just looked at him and said, Mick, when was the last time you used public transport? And he went, about 1964.
He's in again. Short ball played in the air by Jack Leach. He couldn't keep that one down, but square of the man at short leg. Certainly catchable height, but they've really got to go straight to you if you take the catch. And 2:44 for 8. We're into the 75th over of the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Joss Butler's not protecting Jack Leach. He's letting him face.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, he's good. He's good enough.
The man who was in at backward square leg has now gone out to long leg. So we might see a short ball here from... it's quite short, and he digs it down and played it really well into the ground. He wanted the single, but...
Butler is protecting
Butler
him.
didn't want it. So
he's protecting Butler.
So he's got to last one more ball for this over.
He's so much better than Jofra Archer.
Yes. Yes, he is. He's very solid.
Yeah, well, I mean,
solid.
I was amazed when he batted below Stuart Broad. I can't remember which... the Headingley test, obviously, but he made 92. I mean...
He made 92 against Ireland. That was a beautiful innings.
No, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you would have thought that would be enough to say, Stuart Broad is not a reliable player anymore.
Yeah. Here is Hazelwood to complete the over, and he drives. What a lovely shot that is! There, I'm going to take one. But now, this is the bizarre thing. They're only going to get one for that.
That's ridiculous.
As Midoff races around, slides into action, and fields. So that plan has gone a little bit awry, hasn't it?
Well, that's bizarre.
That is a bit odd, isn't it? I mean, maybe they thought they could get 2 initially there, but you kind of felt that the shot deserved a run.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. It was a good shot. I think he thought he'd placed it a little bit squarer than he had.
Yeah.
And I initially, I have to admit, thought there was 2 there, but yeah. Well, at least the more solid of the 2 is going to be on strike for the next over.
Yes, fair point. Fair point. Any tweets there, old boy?
Yeah. Pirate Badshaw.
1,176
hours, I think. I don't quite know what that's reference.
Oh, it's a reference to how long we've got until the start of the first test.
New Zealand test.
So that's nowhere near enough time to make him into a proper batsman.
Well, presumably he's already had a few hours. He's waiting for Cummins now. And Cummins is in, bowls him a short one, which troubles him, but he managed to shake his head out of the path of the ball, ultimately. Played it better than Joss Butler did a few overs ago when he looked like he was going to pull, then he tried to duck out of the way of it and then took it on the shoulder and then into the grill.
Leia didn't pick up the WCTC parallel.
Okay. It's just I was watching yet another programme about it last night. A really good programme, actually, about people who saved others in the building. It was really, really interesting and quite moving. Cummins then turns at the top of his run. He's running in towards the pavilion from the Vauxhall end. He bowls, and this one comes back into Leach, but Leach plays it well, adjusts, and with his bat and pad quite close together, defends it back to the bowler.
I've met one of the first responders. Is that what they were called?
Oh, right, yes, okay.
Yeah, I met one of them. He was also a Vietnam War veteran, and and gave tours around. I mean, this was 7 or 8 years ago, but gave tours around the memorial site, which is amazing, very moving. If you ever get the chance to go, because they have recordings of all of the they managed to. One of the flights managed to essentially stop the
hijacking.
Yeah, stop the hijacking, but it crashed.
United 93.
Yeah, but they all managed to call their relatives. It's very moving.
It is very moving. That's hit him on the pad, has it? No, he's scooped it into the onside. There is nobody at mid wicket.
He's singing like a melon endo.
He is. He's gone on to 6, and England are 246 for 8. They may get that 250 after all.
Devon Wade says it's news to any music fan in America that any famous musician is a cricket fan. Not that any of them are watching the stream feed besides me.
There's a man in there looks very much like Bradley Walsh of The Chase.
Really? I missed that.
Did you not see that?
Maybe it was Bradley.
Maybe it was him. Maybe.
He lives not far from me.
Who, Bradley Walsh?
Yeah. See him on the train quite a lot.
Okay.
Have you considered that Leach may have been sent in as a night watchman to protect Broad, says Dave Wood?
Protect Broad, yeah. Well, we'll need
it's the sort of thing he'd ask for, actually.
We need Broad to do it. Oh, now, what on earth has happened there? Basically, Joss has moved well outside leg stump before the ball is delivered. The ball follows him. It's very full, and it actually swings away from him. But then he misses it as he tries to flick across the line, and he's beaten between bat and leg stump.
That's pure 2020, isn't it?
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Follow the batsman.
But so that was entertaining. I think Butler should just settle down a little bit here, because Leach can hang on in there. I don't think he needs to go quite so crazy. Play, by all means, if he gets a ball up in the slot, go for it. But I don't think he needs to be looking quite as frantically. In comes Cummins, bowls, and he flicks that away. That's a beautiful shot, but there will be a man back there for preventing the 4. Matthew Wade it is, so they just jog through for the single, but that leaves Jack Leach with 2 balls to face from Cummins, and England move to 247 for 8.
So we're past the scheduled finish time and we're 14 overs behind.
That is poor. And when people are paying 100 and 130 quid for a ticket, I mean, that is really shortchanging them.
Yeah, it's what, 1/6 of the day, is it? Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's really not good enough.
Yeah, no, it absolutely isn't, and not just because I've paid for 2 tickets on Saturday and Sunday.
Pirate Badchild says, sorry, that was the 1st of November. The first test starts on the 21st, so it's 1,656 hours, 69 days time, 24 hours.
69 days?
Seems a long time.
What are you going to do with the next 69 days?
Oh, I don't know, sleep.
Go back into hibernation?
Yeah, possibly. Leach settles down and waits for Cummins into his 21st over. He's round the wicket now to the left-hander, and he squeezes that off an outside edge, and it beats the diving gully and runs down in front of the Bedser stand for 4 more. Yep, 4 to England. 251 is the total, and Jack Leach is into double figures. So there you go.
Oh, Leachy. Well, look.
He got turned around by that, but he got enough back on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very front on by the time he played it, but he did well enough. That, in fact, is the end of the over, isn't it? Because Cummins is now, when he's bowled 5 balls, or what appears to be 5 balls, that's actually the end of his over, because he had to bowl those 5 balls for Mitchell Marsh.
Is it beyond expectation that England could post a score?
I think this is just about a score.
It's getting there, isn't it?
Yeah.
To give Australia food for thought.
I still don't think. I know Australia bowled well, but I still don't think it was the right decision to bowl first. And I think if you're going to bowl first, you really should be knocking the side over for probably under 250. Anywhere over 300, you've definitely made a mistake.
Yeah, I think if England can eke out a few more runs, Hazelwood is going to be bowling. 4 balls till the new ball. It's smashed a pull shot from,
he didn't see it.
From Joss Butler, and you're absolutely right. Labuschagne out there at deep backward square didn't see it, started running off to his right, then realised he had to go to his left. Did well to recover, and they only get 2. But Butler moves to 46, England to 253 for 8. He is looking into the sun there.
Well, the sun suddenly come out after with the floodlights on earlier.
Yeah. So that made it difficult for him. So he did do quite well to recover, then pick up cleanly and get the throw away very swiftly as well. He is a good fielder. He's a good cricketer, Labuschagne.
Yeah, he is.
Very
good
all-round,
very good player.
I think he's been obviously Smith. He's been my man of the series.
In a way, yes,
ways,
absolutely.
Hazelwood is in and he pulls again. And where's that gone? It's gone all the way. Well over Labuschagne this time. Into the crowd in front of the scoreboard there. That is 6 runs. Poor old Damascene has completely lost it. He doesn't know where that went. And that's 50 for Joss Butler.
I think he...
When you're 50, sometimes you drink till you pass out on the floor. Now your liver's destroyed and you got hemorrhoids and you can barely get it up anymore.
I don't think Labuschagne picked that one up either, actually, although it did go sailing over his head in the end. Butler 5 4s and 3 6s now. In comes Hazelwood, throws it right up in the block hole, just outside leg stump. Butler punches it down to long on, but decides not to take a run. 259 for 8. Some quite exciting and enterprising cricket to end the day from England. It's looking like a pretty good day at tea, but
you should never believe this England team's facts or hype, really.
Not at all. Not at all. They could collapse at any conceivable
moment.
point, couldn't they? We see a giant picture of Kevin Peterson. Don't really need to see that because he's a twat, as I told you earlier. In comes Hazelwood. In, bowls down the leg side. Left alone by Butler. 259 for 8.
Oh dear, Leia. I finished what you'd probably call O-levels in 2002 and had a guy in my class that got radicalised by 9/11. I'm just waiting for the news that he got gruesomely killed in Iraq and Syria.
Well,
not that he wouldn't deserve it.
Jesus!
Blimey.
Are you coming to take over? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. And you're coming in. Who else is coming in? Okay. All right. Well, we'll say goodbye to Ed. He's back tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I mean, Knackle wanted me to stay for the podcast.
Oh, you're doing the podcast?
But I don't know if that's actually happening.
I'm sure it will be. No, that's outside leg stump, and it's sort of flapped at by Butler, who somehow gets it down to long leg and takes a single.
But I will be back tomorrow anyway.
That's absolutely true. Yes, indeed. 260 for 8.
Now it's starting to get a score.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's starting to get something to chew at for England's bowlers.
Well, I think the conditions are going to be. It's going to be interesting what sort of conditions we get tomorrow. Whether it's going to. I think the sort of general trend is that it's warming up as we get nearer the weekend.
And these two haven't finished yet.
Well, that's true. And in fact, as I say, Butler can play that as long as he plays the right balls. He needs to have confidence in Leach to at least stay there. He's got 10 from 21 balls. He's doing a good job, and he's got one ball of this over to face from Hazelwood. In comes the Australian from the pavilion end, bowls, and he just waits for this and then drops it down ever so casually to the gully region, and that is the end of the over. It's goodbye from Nestlers. Is that the last we're going to see of you for this test? It is the last we're going to hear and see of Nestle by this test. It might be the last you'll see of him for some time, because we're going to be taking a bit of a break, I think. Oh, right, okay. Well, I think you've built up the crowd, the sort of crowd base, haven't you, the fan base? I think that's fair enough. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow, and here's a little sting.
It's been too many overs on a little couch, just like an old biddy. They need to stretch and slouch. It's been a few overs coming, but to the sofa, change gon' come. Oh, yes it is.
Change is not just coming to the sofa or the various upholstery that we have here, variety of upholstery we have here. Not actually a sofa, but change is coming to the bowling attack, and it's going to be change in the form of Labuschagne. Who broke that stand at Old Trafford, got rid of Jack Leach with the one that popped onto his glove and then was caught at short leg. But it's Joss Butler he's going to be bowling to initially. A quite well spread field. He's in, he bowls short and wide, and Butler, trying to give himself room, finds himself stretching for that, so therefore doesn't really time the stroke. Andy Ward has moved in beside me on the tweets, and Nakul Mpandi is there on the jingles.
Doesn't say a lot for Nathan Lyon that he's only bowled 4 overs. And
I think he might not be on the field.
He's in again, and he plays a reverse sweep, and where's that gone? It's gone, well, exactly where he intended it, which is backward a square towards backward point, and it's brought him 4 wonderful runs.
My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
The reason I say he might not be on the field is because we saw Cameron Bancroft on the field much earlier, before Mitchell Marsh came off. And I wonder if Nathan Lyon might be injured.
Okay, that's worth looking into. We'll try and find out.
It would explain also why Marsh bowled quite such a long spell and why Lyon's only bowled 4 overs today.
Labuschagne in again. Oh, he's absolutely drilled that back. Butler, half stopped by Labuschagne. It was a brave man to put his hand down there. And although the ball ultimately trickles up to long off, they decide against a run. Now, Labuschagne's an interesting bowler. He does bowl. I think that was actually a very sharp chance.
Yeah.
Wow. But that must have been travelling. He's just blowing on his hands now. He does bowl some long hops, but he also bowls some very good balls. And he hasn't got much in the way of a close field, just a slip. He's in, and that's short. And he plays this through the vacant mid-wicket area. There is a man way back on the boundary, but they might have been thinking of they could have run 2
I was going to say the same thing, just Virat Kohli, take the pace off it, get it to stop where the 30-yard circle would be and run 2.
I think the thing was that he was on the back foot, really, so he would have, if you're already coming down the wicket to that, you've got a chance. Not so easy when you've gone onto the back foot. He's in again, and it's wide of the off stump, and it's cut by Butler. out to deep extra, and they take a single. Now, I think that was Nathan Lyon at deep extra, so okay, that may be false information that we were giving you, but I may be wrong. But it just did look like Nathan Lyon coming in there.
So Labuschagne just trying to buy a wicket with Butler on the attack.
Yeah, well, also I wonder whether now he's got Leach up the other end, he might bring 2 or 3 more close fielders in for him.
Yeah, someone's grabbing the helmet.
Because he did rather crowd him, didn't he? I mean, that said, there were footmarks, big footmarks outside his off stump.
And it was day 5.
On day 5, exactly. So it might be slightly different here, slightly easier for Leach to cope with. He's presumably going to come round the wicket now. He does. He's just got a short leg in there as well. He's clipped away through the man at short leg. Jack Leach is keen for the single, but Butler says no, it's the end of the over. Let me take it. And it's 265 for 8.
Butler said, Jack, did you not get the memo? Did you not quite understand what I'm trying to do?
I guess. Nivadita on YouTube says, when is the next India-Australia series? I'd love to see Kohli v Smith and Smith v Spin. Well, much as they would like to, India, England and Australia can't play each other all the time. They do have to play some other teams in between.
Well, India have got South Africa next, which is coming up fairly soon.
England are in New Zealand. I don't know who Australia are playing next.
Well, Australia are playing New Zealand this winter, playing the Boxing Day test against each other. New Zealand getting the Boxing Day test for the first time in ages. Yeah, interesting team news for India. Shubman Gill being called up into the test squad for the first time. A lovely player to watch. And Rohit Sharma's going to be opening. KL Rahul's been dropped.
Rahul's been chopped again. Yes, well, he's in and out, isn't he, Rahul? Rohit Sharma still has it all, well, a certain amount to prove in Test cricket. Cummins will bowl. The second new ball will be available in 2 overs. It'll be interesting to see if they've got time to take it tonight, and if so, whether they will actually take it tonight. Should they not bowl England out in the next 15 or 20 minutes?
Paceman Pat, and his baggy green cap. Early in the morning, just before the warm-up.
He's in, and he gives himself room and aims an almighty heave at that, but makes absolutely no contact. And through the keeper it goes.
It's I say interesting, very telegraphed field. We've got a slip, a short extra cover, and everyone else is back on the boundary.
Yeah, which is why I wonder about Butler playing that shot, unless he's absolutely, well, I suppose he is confident that he can clear the boundary. David Warner is down there at long off, who's taking a bit of stick, it would appear, from someone in the members' pavilion. He's having a little bit of a joke with him, saying, I can't hear you, mate, can't hear you. Anyway, it's all smiles at the moment. In comes Cummins again, and onto the back foot, and in defence this time, Butler, quite right, just drops it back in front of him, it rolls up to the bowler, and there is no run. Oh, in fact, now he's going to actually sign autographs, so maybe they weren't giving him jip. They were just saying, can you give us a signature, you cheat? No, I don't mean that.
They say that as he's walking off.
Sorry, I don't mean that. I was just having a little joke. Butler 58, Leach 10. England 265 for 8. Cummins is coming in from the pavilion end. Past umpire Dharmasena, and this is flicked into the onside by Butler, who sets off quickly, and he does want a second here, and they're going to get it comfortably. Very cleverly played, and he moves into the 60s.
Anna Forsyth, however this test goes, at least we get to see Butler batting like this.
He looks much more comfortable, doesn't he, doing this?
Yeah, panache style, and dear God, those eyes.
Oh yes, indeed, those
eyes.
Leah
says Universe Joss should be England captain.
Well,
he was vice captain until recently.
Yeah,
until Ben Stokes said, "Can I have it back, please?"
I think it's a lot to give Stokes the captaincy as well as all the other things he's got to do.
I think it would be at the moment. I really don't think that's a necessarily good idea. Although we did see the huddle the other day being led by him, even though Root was in the huddle. This is driven by Butler up to long on, and they don't take the single.
Well, I think he's a great guy to have as vice captain, as a sort of inspirational figure and someone as a senior player, but there's so much more than that to captaincy.
Well, yes, absolutely, but it does seem odd to me that Root would allow him to do that. You would think that Root would have it himself. Well, maybe he did.
Yeah, or I'll beat you up. I can't see Butler as captain, though, just for the point that his place in the team is not very secure.
I think Joss Butler's batted better throughout the sort of second part of this series and throughout since he's come back into the England team than many give him credit for.
He's done okay. I mean, he hasn't had, the chances have been at tricky times that he's come into bat. This is clipped up to mid-on, who's come in now on the one.
He scored important runs in the India series, often batting with Sam Curran. He was very good in Sri Lanka, and he did get a couple of 50s in the West Indies tour, particularly in the game that England won. And he's batted 100 balls more times than any other England batsman since he's come back in. Only beaten, I think, by Karunaratne and Pujara.
I suppose there is an element of you have expectations of these people, and then you look at if you just look at the bare statistics and you see he hasn't got that eye-catching big score. Cummins in again, he goes back and he flicks this away through mid-wicket. I think he'll be happy with the one as Warner chases after that towards deep mid-wicket. They do settle for the single, 268 for 8. Leach has 10, and Butler, having claimed the strike again, has 61.
Messi Jez reminds us to check the GPL.
Oh, the GPL.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Quite a few entries today as well.
Be in play. Leah says Rohit was pretty good in Australia when India won their first series. They're batting 6 though, wasn't
Yes, he was. With Agarwal and Rahul started that series, and then Vihari got moved up the order. He has opened a couple of times in a few times in Test cricket. He didn't do very well in South Africa. That was batting in the middle order, and he hasn't opened in first-class cricket outside of the international scene since 2012.
Labuschagne is off after 1 over. Mitchell Marsh, who's recovered from his cramping, has returned.
He's not Jeff, he's not Sean, he's not Rod, he's not Daniel, he's not Jack, he's not Jamie, he's not Lisa, he's not
Looking
Paul,
for a 5th wicket in Test cricket for the first time.
He's not CJ, he's not Christian, he's not Dean, he's not
any of these people.
He's not Edward, he's not John.
Just a slip, everyone else is spread, and he pulls that, and he pulls it well, but I don't think he's split the field, so they won't take a run out to deep into wicket.
It's interesting that a number of boundary fielders have struggled to pick up the ball at times.
Yeah, well, actually he's on the other side now. I think
might be quite low.
Yeah, I think on one side, the side that Labuschagne was in front of the main score box, it was quite difficult to see, but the other side it should be all right. As we look at Mitch Marsh's wickets today, again this is timed nicely off his legs by Butler, but he won't be tempted into a run.
I think it might have been when the sun was setting and there was that shadow coming from the roof of one of those stands, but now it's a much more even light, so you're not having that issue so much.
Yeah, there is a bit of sunshine out there, but the actual playing area, so the pitch is pretty much in shadow now.
I think
Tim
we've reached
Payne
the
is in,
point
sunlight.
where we won't be seeing Australia batting today.
Pretty much. In comes Marsh, bowls. That's a good ball, just a little bit of gentle away swing, which is defended by Butler. Back to the bowler. I think Butler needs to settle down and not do anything stupid. Be there tomorrow morning if you possibly can, and pick up 20-30 more runs if you can. Get yourselves to 300. That's a decent competitive total. We don't quite know what a good score is.
He also has to get the runs before we lose the other 2 wickets.
Well, he does, but Leach
has looked fairly solid.
He's very solid, I think, Leach. I'm not sure about Broad. He's in again, and this one is again beautifully timed off his legs. They might take the single this time out to deep mid-wicket. Yes, I think they have. So Butler leaves Leach with 2 balls.
Yeah, of course, the second new ball to a set batter can often come up the bat quicker and increase the rate of run scoring.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they'll take the second new ball because of that, and because of the fact that it's kind of going to be a bit of a waste if they want to spread the field, isn't it? If they do take it, they've got to attack more, obviously.
It might aid them getting the tail ender out.
It might well do. A little bit harder, but they bowled pretty well with this old ball, to be honest. Leach is on 10 from 23. He's just jogging away a little bit at the crease there. 2 slips in the gully, a point, a mid-off, a short leg, mid-on, a square leg and a long leg for Leach. And Marsh is in and bowls to him, and he gets in behind that and defends it up to mid-on. There is no run. Strict 81 miles an hour, that from Marsh.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of fun at Mitchell Marsh's expense, possibly throughout his career, but he has bowled well in the conditions today. He's got the ball to swing, and he's pitched the ball up. A couple of the Yorkers he bowled were very good.
They were, absolutely, I agree with that. He's bowled 2 very good balls, I think, that have got him wickets. 2 not so good, and he tries to throw in the swinging Yorker there, but it's dug out expertly by Leach into the covers, and that is the end of the over. England 269 for 8. And the new ball is available.
It is due. Not a lot going on social media. Knackle says, Leah says to Knackle, you are of course right, but he's pretty good in first class in India, Rohit this must be, and he deserves the chance after the tour of the toxic lands, wherever that was. India play a tour in the wasteland in, Judge Dredd or something.
Oh, it must be, yeah.
Or Australia, as it's...
Well, a new ball has been handed by the fourth umpire to Dharmasena, and he's put it in his pocket, and he's saying, are you ready for this now? And I think he is immediately ready. Cummins sometimes bowls one ball with the old ball, but he has been bowling, so he's probably warmed up, and he's going to take the new cherry.
Yeah, well, they did it in both innings at Old Trafford. Mitchell Stark in the first innings and Cummins in the second. Where's the new ball jingle gone? Looking in the wrong folder. There it is.
New balls, please.
And the orb shall be wielded by this man.
Paceman Pat, and his baggy green cap. Early in the morning, just before the warm-up, he has to pull out with a dodgy back.
Patrick Cummins!
It's amazing all the problems he's had injury-wise, how fit he seems now. He's in, bowls to Butler, who's hopping around at the far end to defend that into the offside.
Yeah, 6 years of absolute hell for Pat Cummins. Didn't play a test match in that time. Did come back in the one day team. Was part of the 2015 World Cup winning team, though not always playing. But since he came back into the test team, he looks indestructible.
He does.
He bowls these incredibly long spells in the heat, consistent pace.
Yep.
Being both an attacking spearhead and an economical bowler of a type not seen since Ryan Harris.
Yeah, he's bowled extremely well in this series. 26 wickets is it he's got. He's in again, and Butler goes across and clips this in the air, and he's found a gap. Although the ball, despite being hard, shiny and new, has rather plugged in the outfield. So the man at deep square can eventually run round and retrieve, but they get back for a couple.
Expert terrible timing.
For 8. Sorry?
Expert terrible timing.
Well,
from
it
Josh
looked all
Butler.
right to me, actually. It looked like he'd clipped it quite nicely, and then it just seemed to lose any impetus in the outfield. Well, he's picked up 2 more. He's gone to 64 from 80 balls, 271 for 8.
They have put a couple of slips in with the new ball.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. As Cummins is in again, he goes across and he drives at this one, and he's beaten by one that swings away. And through to Payne it goes. What's this partnership worth now? It must be worth 40 or so.
Brian 001 says, yet again Australia finding it difficult to remove the tail enders. Discuss.
I mean, England haven't been that much better in this series.
No,
Yes.
that's always what they say a mystery spinner is good at. Or
Partnership is worth 45.
45.
Just over 4.5 and over.
valuable runs.
Excellent little stand this so far. In comes Cummins again, bowls, and he's chipped that in the air. Oh, and he could so easily have been caught, but it hasn't quite carried to Siddle at mid-on, who chases around and sort of picks it up after it bounced.
Oh, that started life as a launch into the top tier of the pavilion.
And maybe just stopped his shot a little bit. Let's have another look at this. Yeah, just a little chip in the end. And that's dangerous when you get caught in two minds.
Yeah, he was caught between that launch and just nudging it wide of Siddle. I wonder if Siddle will take the new ball from the other end.
It'd be interesting to see. How much time have we got left? Cummins in again. Oh, he's got a horrible smear across the line. He kind of deserved to be bowled there. That was such a poor shot. And I don't understand this, Joss. Just simmer down, for goodness sake. You got 2 men out. You know, it's fine to play these shots. I mean, that's just ugly. The head was in the air well before he swung the bat, really.
It's rare that you see a batsman admonishing himself while he's playing the shot.
That was dreadful. That really was a horrible, horrible heave.
When he's gone down the ground earlier in his innings, he's been taking on very full deliveries.
Does he think that Leach won't last the new ball? Anyway, here comes Cummins. He's in, and he swings that away, and has he got an edge to that? Well, no, but it went a long way, and Tim Payne has dived beyond the first slip to gather that. That's how far it went. Anyway, that's the end of Cummins over.
It was a slightly odd one there, because I couldn't see anyone up in the ring, and it was the last ball of the over.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. 271 for 8.
Drop his bat on one and try to go
I think
through
that's
for
exactly
one.
what he was trying to do, but it was so wide that he couldn't reach it.
Maybe Australia rightly feeling that trying to entice him into that prod rather than a full shot is maybe the best chance of getting an edge. Or maybe
Well,
everyone just forgot to come in.
We should have one more over before stumps. It is 6:26.
Yeah, I would suspect this to be the last one.
Well, it's going to be Josh Hazelwood, not Peter Siddle.
There is a chance at the GPL. England on 271 for 8. 273 is in play. Messi Jez,
Of course.
279, I think, is probably the stretching a point. Forest Hill Blue Army. We've gone past Lancashire Bloke, which was the lowest GPL entry at 267. So 2 more runs for England. We'll see Messi Jez win back-to-back GPLs.
Whoa. It just gets worse for us. Australians winning the Ashes or retaining
Taking
the
it
Ashes.
all.
Messi Jez cleaning up on the GPL. He's in. Bowls to Leach. A foolish ball that swings into him and he defends it again with good technique on the front foot, and there is no run.
It's probably not good news for Messi Jez that Leach is on strike, because you can imagine he'll just block everything on the stumps and leave everything wide of the stumps.
Yeah, he might get one just sort of around about leg stump, which he can clip away for a couple. So I think the dogs can be
Wouldn't
reasonably
take a couple,
calm out
though,
there in
wouldn't-
Perth.
Wouldn't take a 2, though, would they?
They might take a 2, might not take a 1.
Is Leach now acting as a night watchman who will take the strike for the rest of this over?
You would think so, wouldn't you?
I'm not sure if they would think
2
so.
slips of gully and a short leg, a man at backward square leg, mid on, mid off, backward point. A short ball that comes off his elbow in the air, it's taken, and that's a ridiculous appeal. That has hit the end of his elbow, surely. And they're asking for that. I mean, come on.
Well,
I mean, even at full pace, that looked like the end of his
review
elbow.
then if you think it's out,
Yeah.
which of course they don't.
They're just wasting a bit more time. We're going to get 82 overs in the day, so 8 short of what has been paid for by the spectators.
Well,
this again.
everyone knows now they're not getting 90. I'm
It
not
wasn't the
saying
elbow.
that doesn't make it right, but
No.
everybody does know.
It wasn't the elbow, it was a little bit below the elbow. It was down on the forearm, but it wasn't near the glove, has to be said. Leach comes down, has a little bit of prod, has a little chat with Joss Butler, maybe just outlining and confirming their approach to these final 4 balls. In comes Hazelwood, another short one, which he ducks under very comfortably.
It's one of these situations where both teams are happy enough to just get in and end the day, which in game theory terms shouldn't be possible. It should be to one of their advantages to have another over.
That bouncer wasn't as far away from the glove as it first looked. It hit the very bottom of the arm guard.
Yeah, it didn't look out though. It didn't look like it was near enough the glove to me at all. It wasn't the point of the elbow, but certainly a long way. The trouble is that he's got everything on there. He's got glove. It looks like he's got a sort of sweatband, and then he's got the shirt and the arm guard. So it would be very difficult for an umpire to tell. In comes Hazelwood again, and that one came into him sharply, but he played it really well out towards mid-wicket with the swing. And there is no run. 2 more balls remaining in the day.
Two balls for Australia to get that 2 for Messi Jez to win the GPL.
Yep.
And
Josh
how much will
Holland,
he win today?
Do any of you know how the over 8 penalties in the World Test Championship actually work?
There is an explainer article on Crick Info, which we might retweet at the end of the day's play.
So, as the shadows cover almost the whole of the playing area now, just sun shining on the pavilion a little bit, Hazelwood approaches from the Vauxhall end, and up onto his toes goes Leach to a ball back of a length, and he defends it and gets a round of applause.
You're not saving the game at the moment. I wouldn't go mad.
No, I wouldn't go mad, but English folk must take small joys where they accrue.
That's world champions England.
That's true. So Leach is 10 from 30 balls, Butler 64 from 84, and it looks like Butler will be out there tomorrow morning. And hopefully Leach, if he can survive this final delivery of the day. It's Hazelwood on into his 21st over, 2 for 76. He's in, he bowls a swinging delivery down the leg side, which Payne does well to dive, stretch out a hand and grab, and that should be it for today. Leach and Butler have seen England through to the end without being bowled out. 271 for 8. A good comeback in that last little period of about 45 minutes to an hour after England got themselves in trouble after being fairly comfortable in mid-afternoon. 271 runs in the day, 8 wickets, an over rate of 12.3 and a run rate of 3.3. Just 8 overs short of what we should get. But well done, Joss Buttler. He opened up a little bit once he lost the final partner that he felt was a recognised batsman. He's hit 3 sixes, batted very nicely indeed at times, and has looked more comfortable in this role, really, of playing shots.
Well, and also shepherding the tail, and kind of almost taking that little bit of responsibility on his shoulders. It is his first 50 in 9 innings since the second innings of the St Lucia Test match that England won. But he batted well, I think, at times in the first innings at Old Trafford. It wasn't a good shot to get out, and then I think batted very well in the second innings at Old Trafford.
So Burns made 47, Denley 14, Root 57, Stokes 20, Bairstow 22, Curran 15, Wokes 2, Jofra Archer 9, Joss Buttler not out 64, Jack Leach not out 10, Stuart Broad the remaining batsman to come.
It's an odd looking scorecard. 8 England players got into double figures.
A lot of people got in and got themselves out, but I think that's kind of describes how well, or symptomatic of the way that Australia bowled. Actually, they never sort of thought that they were struggling. Mitchell Marsh, you got to look at his figures: 4 for 35. At least of those 2 wickets were exceptionally well bowled. A couple of Yorkers up there, and a couple of LBWs for him. Cummins has been his usual save. Hazelwood, Siddle perhaps a little bit disappointing in terms of his return, none for 61. Lyon only got 4 overs. Labuschagne got a single over as well. And at one point, England were 170 for 3. They collapsed, losing 5 wickets for 56. There's always an England collapse around the corner. But then these two have come in and have added 45 and have given England a bit of a chance. And we're being told that wonderful competition that we're all looking forward to next summer,
Put it in your diary.
the 100 draft, will be live on October the 20th at 7 p.m.
I think the draft might be quite fun. I'm not sure about the competition.
I might actually go out that night. But anyway, that's it for us from us for today. We will be back with a slightly smaller staff tomorrow. I think we've had 7 people in today, but we're a little bit short of people. So if you're out there and you're a gorilla, feel welcome to come in should you be passing this way. Until tomorrow then, unless we've got some final tweets. Any final tweets?
Not really, just to say that's probably me for the summer. What a summer it's been.
What a summer it's been.
I've been very fortunate. I did the last over of the innings, not the super over, but the last over of the innings in the World Cup, and also the end of the Ben Stokes Test match. So I have been spoiled this summer, and thank you everybody for listening and tweeting and supporting us.
And I think, Andy, a fine job you did describing to our worldwide audience those incredibly thrilling moments.
Oh, it was.
Thank you. But if you couldn't be passionate at that point, it was probably time to give up. And if you couldn't be excited,
probably. Yeah. Anyway, rejoin us tomorrow when England will resume on 281 for 8 with Joss Buttler out
271.
there. 271 for 8. Joss Buttler trying to muscle a few more runs. Jack Leach batting solidly, hopefully at the other end, and of course Stuart Broad to come in and have a crazy few moments. But it's goodbye from all of us tonight at Gorilla Cricket. There will be a podcast coming up later,
indeed,
which you can look out for. But until about 10:50 a.m. BST tomorrow, it's goodbye from all of us at Gorilla Cricket.
Bye.
Gorilla Cricket.